Two channels coming together. Oh, yeah. True crime team, you better know. After the facts and defense rest, let's go. Bringing justice, doing their best. Woo! Facts are flying, truths unfolding. Criminals shaking, their stories holding. Defense rest, got the legal mind. Together they solve, justice they find. All rise, the truth's in the house. Y'all, bring it up, breaking it down. Hear that call? Facts and defense, a mighty blend. Oh yeah, justice ain't gonna bend. Gavel hits, the facts commence. Defensive moves, we've got the sense. Teamwork strong, no crime secret. Yeah, they're bringing justice. Best believe it. Ooh, yeah.
Hello, we're here.
Hello. Good morning. Welcome. Come on in. You
Come and play with us.
Going for a big surprise. We're doing Aussie stuff today. Yay. Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
Good morning, Miss Tricia.
Hello, Tricia.
How's the storm? Is your whiteout settled? She had a massive snow and ice storm the last few days. She's lucky that she's up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she sent me a pic. Actually, I might even be able to show you. Let me see. Where is it?
Where?
Yes. I think that's it. Yes, it is. Download.
Oh, no power. Oh, no.
Oh, how's she getting internet then?
Maybe he's hotspotting off a phone.
Oh,
Maybe he's in a laptop and hotspotting on a phone. Is your power back on yet, Tricia?
Let me see if I can bring this picture up. My computer.
Because you should say
PDF or not. Sorry, go.
Yeah. Okay, I was just going to say I've got my fancy new internet on yesterday. Yay! That was really fast.
Super duper rooper. Oh, shit, I can't. Nah. Saved it as the wrong file. Anyway, I'll work on it later and show you. Welcome to Tandem Tuesday.
Tandem Tuesday, that's us.
Yes, Tandem True Crime. Welcome. Did you like our intro? I think that number up there. Oh, cool. Top left-hand corner of the screen where it says live, and you see the I and the number. If you hover over that, it tells you how many is in each. We never used to do that.
Oh, wow, cool.
Ah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, today, we're going old school. We went back to 1980.
The year I ended high school.
Back when I had perky boobs and legs that went all the way up.
Yeah, so I was a couple of kilos lighter myself.
Yeah, me too. I wasted them all. I wasted all those perky years. So
mine's still perfect, but I haven't got much is the problem.
No, I got too much. I would have been, what, 10 when this happened? And I remember it as a child when it came onto the news and just everything. You couldn't listen to the radio or the TV without hearing
Oh,
about
that's right. I mean,
Chamberlain and Azaria Chamberlain and the Dingo. So it's an iconic case, really.
oh, for a few reasons. Yeah, not
Yeah,
just the one
yeah,
reason.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
yeah, it's a terrible story, and
Yeah,
tragic.
it's I remember it was my first year of high school, and then like when I was in just after I finished year 12 was when the matinee jacket was found. So,
Ah,
like all during high school, we all gossiped about it, of course, and we all,
it divided the
oh,
nation.
oh, did we all,
Yeah,
well, us
yeah.
kids all thought she was guilty.
Oh
You
no,
know
I
what I
never
mean?
did.
We did then,
No,
yeah,
I never ever did.
100%.
Never ever.
Didn't
Uh,
you?
no, no,
I don't know.
no, I never did. Good
Hi,
morning.
Elizabeth.
Oh, I've got one thing I forgot to do. Hang on. Where are we? Yeah, you ready?
Thank you, thank you. Consider the cherry pop. Uh, Thank you,
There you
darling. Thank you.
go. You're welcome.
Uh,
So, yes, um, it's a terribly tragic story, um, and yeah, the poor bugger to what she's gone through over the 32 years, basically, it's spanned
yeah,
from
well, that's
from the
it, isn't it?
time
Well,
that
34,
Azaria,
30, 34 now.
yeah, no, but from the time
It
that
happened till the time that they changed the death
the
certificate.
destiny, yep,
Was
yep,
32 years. Yeah,
yep.
4 rolling cars. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Tamya,
Tanya.
you got drunk fingers again, have you?
She has, or she's using a phone and she's got fat fingers like me.
Hey, I had to laugh when I queued up the Cry in the Dark movie. I went to adjust the I went to adjust the video settings to get the highest resolution, maximum 360.
Oh,
Is that movie
no.
all right?
I'll find another one, huh?
You can if you like.
Sure, no, no. I'm not going to. I'm saying surely someone's remastered it by now.
So
Uh,
what we're doing, we're going to split it up into 2 nights, so part 1 and part 2. Tonight we're going to do the facts of the case and the trial and the Royal Commission and all the coronial inquests, and the actual story of
yeah, what
Azaria's
happened and
disappearance.
everything.
Yep. And then we're going to watch the Meryl Streep movie, which in America I think it's called A Cry in the Dark. Over here it's Evil Angels.
It is.
Um,
It is correct.
so we can sit and watch a movie together.
I wonder how many movies that have actually had a different name in the
Yeah.
States than we have in Australia. Now that's interesting fact. We should look that one up too, shouldn't we?
Google me bobbit. Google me bobbit.
Yeah. Because I mean, most of them had the same name.
Now, if you guys want to jump on, because we're streaming dual, like it's exactly the same thing at exactly the same time on both of our channels. So if you want to jump onto Tan's, come in by her thumbnail, then that will help build her watch time hours. Because I've
Oh,
got
thank you, Jodie.
it's okay. So please do. 18 degrees. Oh, that's Fahrenheit
So,
too.
yes,
Fuck.
I have. What's that in Celsius? Okay, we'll definitely Google that one.
Oh,
Fahrenheit to Celsius.
it's
I don't know.
way under. way under 0.
Oh, there it is. Fahrenheit Celsius, so it's 18. Ooh. Oh, -8. Now, look, I have heard, though, that there is not a lot of difference between -8 and -2. Fact. That you don't feel a lot of difference between them. There is no way I would visit you, I'm sorry. I don't go to cold places.
You got your green screen up and you didn't put a background drop.
Oh, do you want me to put a Jack background drop on? I was going to, but then I
You got
did
all this new
actually.
stuff. You don't know how to use it.
I do. I actually did put something up here before, but it's
Oh, yeah, no, that works well.
yeah. I thought it did too.
You look like a headless monster.
I know. Isn't
Oh,
that
you have
cool?
to stand up and show everyone your hoodie.
I'll go back to what's that background? No, see, it's still done. So I've got to look more into that. So
Yeah, it'll be in your camera settings.
yeah, so I've got. Oops, I'll keep forgetting with
Yeah.
reverse imaging. So I've got the beautiful Jody hair on the front, which I bought off her website,
In your bosom.
and then yes, and then on the back I did a bit of customization when before the logo was finalised. Can you see it?
Nah, a bit further over to your
Oh,
chair. Further over to your
okay.
chair. That's it.
Can you see it?
Yeah, a little bit. Lean forward.
Yay!
Lean forward. That's it.
Cool. They didn't
Cool.
have any. I want you to put one on there with a zip all the way down.
There should be.
No, I couldn't find
No?
one.
Right.
Maybe
I'll
I
have
was
a
just
look.
impatient
I'll have
and
a look.
bought what was there.
Good morning, Christine. How are you?
Oh, hi, Christine.
My 2 favourite Aussies. Aw, you can stay.
Nah.
Oh, look, we had a heat wave here for a few days, and then last night was
yeah.
freezing. Oh,
Well,
it was freaking horrible,
yeah. What did
wasn't
it get
it?
you last week? Like 30? Oh,
It
not
was
that one.
36, 38, and 39.
Yeah,
A
38
day.
is 100 degrees. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it got a bit warm.
Mm.
And in our new house, we haven't got air conditioning. It's just great.
Oh.
But it's not a hot house, which is really good. It's because of the huge trees we've got. It keeps it quite shaded.
I think you're going to like my overlay.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's have a look, shall we?
Okay, let's go.
A full-scale search
Oh,
in the Ayers
hang on,
Rock
hang on,
area.
hang on. I'm not ready yet. Just let me. I've got to set it up now. Overlay.
Oh, I saw that earlier.
Ta-da! Look at that. Isn't that pretty?
That's gorgeous.
Oh, have I got it right? No, no. Let me make it. Shh.
There's the dingo that did it. See, the
Look at
kookaburra's the
that.
judge.
I put all the birdies in there.
Cool.
How's that?
That's pretty cool.
The koala. Kangaroo. I like the emu.
Yeah, the emu, they're pretty cool, aren't
All right. I'm ready. Ready, please, Mr. Music.
Today failed to find any trace of a 9-week-old baby girl believed to have been taken by a dingo or wild dog last night. She is Lindy Chamberlain, the daughter of a Seventh-day Adventist
By the way, this is actually a real radio broadcast when it happened.
minister from Mount Isa. Terry Price reports from Alice Springs.
Central Australian residents have been shocked by the bizarre disappearance of the 5 kilos baby girl, now believed to have been removed from her cot inside the family's tent about 8 o'clock last night. The family from Mount Isa in Queensland were on a camping holiday in Central Australia and had pitched their tent in the main camping ground about 3/4 of a mile from Ayers Rock. About 1,000 tourists are at present in the area. Inspector Mike Gilroy of Alice Springs Police has flown to the area to coordinate the search. However, appears that bundle was in fact her 9-week-old baby girl. It has come to light that 6 people have been treated for dingo bites in the area over the past 2 months. About 6 years ago, an Aboriginal child was devoured by camp dogs at Papunya in Central Australia. This has been Terry Price for News Voice.
That night, on August the 17th, 1980,
What is that?
at a campsite.
That sounds very professional.
That voice does.
And I like Elizabeth. Yes, abso-fucking-lutely.
Absolutely.
They're my favourites. Abso-fucking-lutely, Tricia. Oh, we got speaking our Aussie accent tonight, right? Yeah.
Oh,
You, mate?
yeah.
Daz, Tan, hey?
Hey, mate.
Site near Australia's famous Ayers Rock, and mother's cry of, "Oh my God, oh my God, the dingo's got my baby," would soon become a phrase that would go down in Australian history. Those words would spark division of an entire continent for the next 32 years and extending until this very day. The choosing of sides in the debate over whether the cry heard that night marked an astonishing and rare human fatality caused by an Australian wild dog,
I wonder.
or was rather the result of a calculated and heinous act by the mother in murdering her
It's
10-month-old
such a
daughter,
professional voice.
Azaria Chamberlain. A jury of 9 men and 3
Oh,
women
see the
held
little, see those little avatars of me? That's actually the recording on the slide, and I managed to. I must have missed one. I didn't
Just
minimise
over the headline there.
Mhm.
She had a better haircut, didn't she? Like, oh my God, I know it was the 80s, but really, man, that was
The
bad.
bowl cut. Yeah.
Even mine wasn't that bad at 13.
Mhm. Well, I used to go and get the spiral perm when I was that age, and you would be in the hairdressers all day. And now I haven't, and I don't have to pay any money for it. And I hate
their
it.
fate
I had
in their
naturally
hands.
curly hair.
The next 32 years is contained within the records of 3 coronial inquests and a royal commission. Many who have no experience with the justice system have the mistaken impression that you basically go in and tell the truth.
Fun with AI, all right?
Put all your cards on the table, so to speak, where the judge or jury will
No,
see plainly and justice will be done.
no,
In practice, it is not so.
No self
no
The Australian legal
comment.
system is based on the British Commonwealth law, which
No
says a
comment.
person is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Unlike the justice system in the US, you are not supposed to have to prove your innocence. As the Crown prosecutor in the trial put it, it was a case of simple alternatives. Either a dingo took Azaria, or she was murdered by her mother. Sadly,
Why is it always the
many
mother?
were unwilling to
Yeah.
consider the
She found her.
alternative that a
She
dingo
ran to the
was
tent.
actually responsible.
Hmm.
With Azaria, it was a case of disappearance and presumed death. The role of the Crown is to act as a minister for justice, working with the magistrate to solve the mystery. The police and their forensic labs do much of the evidentiary research, and it's the Crown's job to present it in the courtroom to determine the truth. Because of this, there would not normally be any need for the Chamberlains to need a lawyer. The Crown is not supposed to be biased against them. They were not accused of anything. But by the time the first coronial inquest came around, there had already been so much rumour and innuendo that they were advised to retain one. He was not there to defend them, though. He would only be there as an additional safeguard against any bias from the Crown.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
Ayers Rock rises 348 metres out of the dry Aboriginal heart of Australia. It's called Uluru by the natives, and it lures tourists drawn
the
by its
natives?
imposing
Natives?
shape
Is that
and colours that
politically
migrate
correct?
from gold to red
That's
in the
not
changing sunlight.
politically
AI.
correct.
AI
On
fucked
August the
that up,
13th,
didn't they?
You
1980,
did.
the Chamberlain family
AI
left their
spat that
home
out,
in the
not me.
northern Queensland mining town of Mount Isa, heading
I want the
west
Tirana
and then south to see
in
Central
that
Australia's
condition
most
per
famous
day.
natural feature. At the time of the trip, Michael Chamberlain served
that-
as a minister at Mount Isa.
That is their actual tent site
Campsite.
and car. Yep. That's where they were.
It's a
I
Seventh
want
Day
the
Adventist
Tirana.
church, a denomination much misunderstood down under. He and his wife of 10 years, Lindy, looked forward to several days of tenting and exploring with their 3 children, Aidan, aged 6,
It'd be fucking hot
Regan,
up there.
aged 4,
Oh,
and
she said, we want
Azaria,
to go there.
10 weeks
Yeah.
old.
It's like everybody I know that's been to Alice Springs says it's not a good place to go to either. Sorry,
The
I hope you
Chamberlains
like our
arrived late
Australian
on the night of
advertising.
August the 16th at the Ayers Rock campground. The next morning, Michael and the 2 boys climbed portions of the rock. Lindy, cradling
Can't do
Azaria
that anymore.
in her arms, explored a formation called Fertility Cave. Just outside the cave, she looked up uneasily to see a dingo staring at her. She would later tell a detective that she had the feeling that the wild dog was casing the baby. After sunset, the Chamberlain family gathered with other campers around the barbecues near their tent site. Lindy held her Azaria in her arms as she and Michael chatted with Greg and Sally Lowe, another young couple also vacationing with an infant. At around 8 p.m, as Sally Lowe walked to a rubbish bin to dispose of those items left from the evening meal, she turned to see a dingo,
Good
followed
morning.
4 or 5 pieces behind her.
Aloha. Oh no, hang on,
Hey,
hang
is
on,
it
Minutes
her?
later,
hang on.
Michael entertained his
It's Aussie Day, so it's g'day, mate. How you
G'day,
doing?
mate. Yep,
Hey,
g'day.
knackers. G'day, knackers.
How'd your day been? No whoppers?
No walking furries. Get a dingo up ya.
That's what we should play for him as Australiana.
Yes. A rubbish bin. Now you must
What?
pay close attention to the commentary. Oh, hello,
She's got a
mister.
thing for that commentary. Thank you, Elizabeth.
son Aidan by tossing a crust of bread to a dingo that appeared near the barbecue bench.
Hello, mister.
Lindy remonstrated. You shouldn't encourage them. About the same time as the dingo pounced on a mouse that Aidan had been chasing, Lindy announced, It's time I put Bubby down, and
Remember?
retreated to the
She used to call
Chamberlain's
her
tent
Bubby.
to make a
All the
suitable
Yeah,
bed for
all the
Azaria.
time.
10 minutes later, having left Azaria with her sleeping brother Regan
Oh,
in the tent, Lindy rejoined the
Udo.
rest of the
Aww.
campers by the barbecue bench.
Don't go
A
near them
baby's cry
stingrays,
from the
mate.
direction of the tent soon sent Lindy racing back to investigate. Then came her
Aw, thank you. That's lovely. You don't have to do that, you dad. Granny, but do you know, I actually have video footage of what's his name? What's his name?
Who?
Crikey.
Oh, Steve Irwin.
Yeah, Steve Irwin. I've actually got video footage of him at Australia Zoo doing his demonstration with his crocodiles way back when.
We have, oh God, it'd be on a camera somewhere. There's some footage of him playing with his crocodiles, but we also have a photo of my 2 kids, the eldest 2, and my brother's 2 kids, which are about 1 year younger than each of them, kind of thing, with a big yellow anaconda snake and Steve Irwin.
Oh,
They actually
there
got
you
that photograph. He's in love with her.
go. Have you
What
seen
did she
Bindi
do in
now?
America before she became Mrs. Irwin? What did she do? Was she anybody? I don't
I
know.
don't think so. But yeah, Bindi.
Oh,
Yeah,
Bindy's gorgeous.
yeah.
And
And
Robert, he's so cute.
I think he's taken over the zoo, hasn't he?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Robert has taken over the zoo. Bindi got married and I think she lives in the States.
No, she's American.
No, Mrs. Irwin was American.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yep,
Not an
absolutely.
Aussie. She had a very thick American accent.
Yeah.
Maybe New York, I think, but I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't know. She says she doesn't know. All right.
cry. My God, the dingo's got my baby.
The so-called Dingo baby case, described in many newspapers over the weekend as Australia's trial of the century, begins in Darwin later this morning. The two principals are Mrs. Lindy Chamberlain, who's charged with having murdered her 9-week-old daughter called Zaria
Have a look at
near
the Commodore.
Rock just over 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, the Commodore. I used to have a Commodore like that. It was blue.
The Adventist Church is charged with being an accessory after the fact. AM's reporter Peter Rapp is covering the opening
How
of
much
the
would that
trial,
be worth now?
and he's on the line now from Darwin.
Yeah, probably that'd be worth more. That 100%, 100 grand. If that was in that condition today.
Media over the last 25 months must be cast aside to enable a jury of 12 to make up its mind on the evidence presented to them. Suffice to say, 2 coronial inquiries have been held following the disappearance of the Chamberlain's third child after 2 boys. They are believed to be staying with relatives near Newcastle. Mrs. Chamberlain is 7 months pregnant, and it's possible she may miss part of her child.
Does that mean you talk fast, Tricia?
No, she blasphemes.
Oh, she blasphemes. Fuck
She's
me.
going to say a cursey accent.
Oh, okay. I thought you might have an italics one.
Tricia and I had a little wench backstage video chat the other day. It was lovely.
Oh, cool.
Coroner Dennis Barrett found that Zaria had been taken from a tent near Ayers Rock by a dingo, and that a person or persons unknown had been involved in the disposal of the body.
This was on Lindy Chamberlain's website, and apparently a lot of Australian artists depicted the goings on, and yeah, it's that's one of them.
Which has never been recovered. But late last year, the
Aussies
Northern
have a
Territory
weird,
Supreme Court
Yeah, definitely. Even I think so sometimes.
The Chamberlains were committed to trial. That was in February, and since then there's been in the main a lull in the media.
Oh, look at your shorts, man, with the long socks.
Last week, when the Chamberlains
sandals,
joined a large media contingent, defence and prosecution counsel, and many of the 40-odd witnesses.
I remember my dad.
Over the week, Pastor and Mrs. Chamberlain.
No, my dad never did. He said that was wrong. He was right.
Mr. Chamberlain attending church on Saturday. Yesterday, about 50 reporters plus
reporters
from around Australia and at least one reporter from overseas were briefed by the Deputy Master of the Supreme Court, Philip Lefebvre.
A hairy little bum. None of mine had that much hair.
Media room set up on the second floor of a government building overlooking the Supreme Court. The high-ceilinged, wood-panelled courtroom couldn't take the crowds expected, so a 2-camera, remote-controlled, closed-circuit television system will relay proceedings to the media room. Yesterday afternoon, reporters were busy claiming specially installed phones, checking radio and television relays, and obtaining press passes. The media room is designated part of the main courtroom, although a coffee vending machine and permission to smoke are no doubt welcome concessions for some. But to the start of the trial this morning, before Acting Chief Justice Mr. Justice Wheelhead, a team of 4 lawyers, headed by a Queen's Counsel, will act for each side. There'll be many artists sketching away for visual media. And the first proceedings can be expected to involve the impaneling of a jury and a final argument over the admissibility of evidence. This is Peter Rapp on a balmy spring morning in Darwin, reporting for AM.
Frank Morris, the first investigator to arrive, shined a light across the floor of the Chamberlain tent, where he noticed blood on one of the rugs. Paw prints led away from the tent entrance, but faded as they hit a road. Meanwhile, 6-year-old Aidan wailed to Sally Lowe as he showed her the empty bassinet. "The dingo has a bubby in its tummy." Soon, campers were locating flashlights, or torches as we call them in Australia, and heading out into the dark scrubland. Nearly 300 men, women and teenagers formed a human chain to look for tracks or pieces of clothing. Michael, who did not join the chain, had already assumed the worst, telling a fellow camper. "She's probably dead now." Then he added incongruously, "I'm a minister of the gospel." The main search turned up dingo tracks, but nothing more.
Aussie version of Red Solo Cups.
Away from the chain, tourist Murray Habby had better luck. Following the tracks of a large dingo under a sand ridge, Habby noticed a depression in the sand where the wild dog seemed to have laid something down it had carried. A local Aboriginal ranger, Derek Hoff, was called in to study that depression. The imprint in the sand suggested a knitted weave of some sort. The men looked for dingo tracks leading on from the depression, but the task proved hopeless. For everyone who had been with the Chamberlains that day or held the vigil with them that night as they waited for word on their daughter, there was no question that the Chamberlains were a loving family and that they had experienced the loss of their daughter and just under horrific circumstances. But false rumours began to fly. Some members of the media and police helped spread those rumours. The 4 lawmen first assigned to the Chamberlain case talked over drinks at the Red Sands Motel. Inspector Michael Gilroy accepted the Chamberlain story, while Frank Morris kept his own counsel. John Lincoln, however, stated, "Not a chance. Never happened before. There's a fact you can't beat it. Never happened ever." Gilroy noted that even though none before had been fatal, there had been a series of recent dingo attacks in the park on children. Lincoln scoffs at the possibility that a dog could lug a 10-pound baby over 100 yards. To prove his point, he leaves the room and returns with a bucket filled with 10 pounds of sand, which he succeeds in supporting by his mouth for less than a minute. He challenges the other officers to see if they can do better.
Yeah, but dog's jaws are a hell of a lot better than his.
After Azaria's Chamberlain's
God, my bull terrier could break a leg.
Wally Goodwin set out for a walk around the gully at the base of Ayers Rock, with the plans to photograph wildflowers along the way. While walking along a densely foliated animal path, Goodwin spotted a shredded clothes resting near a boulder. Upon closer inspection, they proved to be a torn nappy and a jumpsuit. Goodwin reported his discovery to Constable Morris, who collected the evidence. On August
I reckon dingoes look like Basil Brush. Do you guys know who Basil Brush is? And Basil Brush is a fox.
Basil?
Basil?
I used to love Basil Brush. He was so
naughty.
Yeah. He was so naughty.
He was. He was so good, though. He was so good.
See if you can find it on Google a skit of it.
An investigation.
Okay.
While subordinates checked vehicle registrations of the campground visitors, Charlwood could ponder Inspector Gilroy's initial report on the case, which included suspicious tidbits of information that Gilroy had reported. Lindy had brought Azaria in for a medical checkup, and the baby was dressed in all black.
Ooh.
There are photographs of a frilly little black dress that Azaria did wear, but not finding her fashion style appealing to you is not proof of murder. The examining doctor then added that it was curious enough that the name Azaria meant sacrifice in the wilderness, when actually it means whom God aids. Gilroy also commented that Azaria's clothes were found close to where the family hiked earlier in the day. He noted that the people who observed her that evening assumed she was holding a baby when they have seen her holding a white bundle to her breast. In places around Australia, ranging from laboratories to wildlife parks, investigators conducted experiments to test the veracity of Lindy's account of Azaria's disappearance. Blood, vegetation, and hair samples found on Azaria's clothing were examined. Dead dingoes shot in the Ayers Rock region following the disappearance were dissected by veterinarians looking for either human bone or human protein. Tears in the fibres of Azaria's clothing were studied. Did the tears appear to be caused by a dingo's teeth or by some human instrument? If only Dr. Russell from the Karen Reid trial had been available. At Cleland Park Wildlife Reserve in Australia, dingoes were tossed meat wrapped in a baby's nappy so that the nappy could be studied
It is a
and
lot
compared to
like that
Azaria's.
trial, I must
From
admit.
these various efforts, investigators began to build a case for murder.
You banana.
Newspapers fueled
I
suspicions
resemble that remark.
that the Chamberlains killed their baby, possibly as a religious sacrifice. Reporters frequently observed that many Australians concluded from television interviews with the Chamberlains that the couple's demeanour didn't match what they would expect from a couple that had just tragically lost a child.
Yeah, this is
On
the
October
part that
1st,
was.
1980, in Mount Isa, Charlwood
I
conducted
actually
several
emailed her
hour-long
last night.
interviews with both Lindy and Michael Chamberlain.
Oh, did
His
you? Did
questions
you get a reply?
took her along the
Not yet.
timeline
Oh.
from their departure for Ayers Rock to the days following Azaria's disappearance. The interview was relatively cordial, but Lindy expressed repeated frustration with leaks to the press of forensic tests that seemed to cast doubt on her account of events. Charlwood took particular interest in Lindy's unusual reaction to his
Oh.
suggestion that she be hypnotised in an effort to pull out additional details concerning her sighting of the
Who
dingo
wouldn't
around the
react
tent.
like that? You've got to remember, it was back in 1980, so you
Oh,
what?
100%.
You want
Yeah.
a fucking what?
It fell to the magistrate and coroner of Alice Springs, Dennis Barrett, to conduct what would eventually turn out to be the first of 3 coroner's inquests into the death of Azaria Chamberlain. The inquiry opened on December the 16th, 1980, with Ashley McNay for the Northern Territory laying out the case for human intervention in Azaria's death. The evidence suggests that the clothes were put in place, not dragged by a dingo, and the clothes show signs of being removed from the baby by a human.
Now, how the fuck do they pick that? Really?
Yeah.
No, that jumpsuit was definitely taken off by human hands. Fuck off.
Don't ask me how they tested that. McKay argued, moreover, the damage to the clothes is inconsistent with being caused by a dingo. McNay questioned Lindy Chamberlain, but generally failed to identify any motive for her to kill her own child. Television cameras were live when Barrett announced his findings. He concluded that with the voluminous amount of evidence, it indicated that Azaria met her death when attacked by a wild dingo whilst asleep in her family's tent. Neither of her parents were in any degree whatsoever responsible for her death. But the number of oddities concerning Azaria's clothing convinced Barrett that the body of Azaria was taken from the possession of the dingo and disposed of by an unknown method or by a person or persons unknown.
That's the coroner.
Coroner Barrett's findings might have been expected to discourage further investigations, but they did not. On September the 19th, 1981, officers of the Northern Territory Police Department conducted a 4.5-hour search of the Chamberlains' home, seizing over 300 items, ranging from clothing to scissors to the yellow Tirana that they had driven to Ayers Rock in. In November 1981, Chief Minister Everingham, as Attorney General for the Northern Territory,
There we go. I've
filed a
now
motion
got
to
a
quash
Basil
the
Brush
findings
head.
of the first inquest, based
How did he used to laugh?
That's Basil Brush.
He used to laugh a certain way, didn't he? I'm sure he did.
Yeah. You like my hair? Oh,
Oh, Basil.
that's Basil.
on newly discovered evidence. What finally convinced authorities to push for a second inquest was the presence of large quantities of blood in the Chamberlains' dismantled automobile. The
They
second
wrecked
inquest
it.
into the death of Azaria opened in Alice Springs on December the 14th, 1981. before Coroner G. Galvin. The barrister assisting the coroner made it clear that he believed Lindy Chamberlain had taken Azaria from the campsite and murdered her in their yellow
Yeah.
Tirana with a sharp instrument, probably scissors. A biologist, Joy Cool, testified that she found fetal blood beneath the passenger seat of the Tirana. James Cameron claimed in his testimony that the tear found on Azaria's jumpsuit could hardly have come from a dingo. It's more consistent with scissors. A reporter offered an astute observation between the two coroners' investigations. The first inquest was about dingoes, while this one was about blood. The blood evidence persuaded the coroner, and Lindy Chamberlain was charged with murder and Michael as being accessory after the fact.
Mhm.
Despite the lack of a body, the lack of a motive, and the lack of any eyewitnesses, the Northern Territory opened its prosecution. Lindy and Michael Chamberlain in a modern two-story courthouse in Darwin on September the 13th, 1982. Justice James Muirhead, in crimson robes and a grey wig, sat on the bench in the crowded courtroom as attorneys for both sides worked to select 12 jurors from a panel of 123 all-white Territorians. When the selection process was complete, 9 men and 3 women took their seats in the jury box. Defence attorney John Phillips was pleased with the selection. Ian Barker opened the case for the prosecution, telling jurors Azaria died very quickly because someone had cut her throat, adding, "The Crown does not venture to suggest any reason or motive for the killing. It is not part of our case to show that Mrs. Chamberlain had previously shown any ill will towards the child, but instead called the Chamberlain story about the dingo attack a fanciful lie calculated to conceal the truth." The Crown's first witness, Ayers Rock tourist Sally Lowe, offered as much support for the defence as for the prosecution. Lowe described Lindy as being away from the barbecue only 6 to 10 minutes, a very short period in which to have committed the murder and temporarily disposed of the body, as the Crown claimed. Lowe also damaged the Crown's case by insisting, "I heard the baby cry, quite a serious cry, shortly before Lindy went to the tent, and reportedly saw the dingo slinking out off into the dark." On cross-examination, Lowe confirmed that she was...
That picture at the top there, that is the jawbone of a dingo with a doll's head in it.
Positive she heard a baby cry, a cry that was suddenly cut off, and that the cry definitely came from the tent. She also described Lindy before the incident having a new mum glow about her. Testimony from others who were at the campground that August night generally presented a version of events that also seemed to aid the defence more than the prosecution, whose witnesses they were. Greg Lowe, Sally's husband, was asked on cross whether he saw if the Chamberlains cleaning blood from their Tirana at the time, when according to the prosecution's timeline, they would have had to have done so. "No, I didn't," Lowe answered. "There were quite a lot of people around at the time at the tent site, and I'm sure if anything like that happened, it would have been noticed." Judy West reported she heard Lindy cry, "The dingo's got my baby," just 5 to 10 minutes after she heard a dingo growl low and deep outside the tent. She also testified that earlier she had been forced to shoo off a dingo that had grabbed her 12-year-old daughter by the arm. Witness Amy Whittaker, however, provided jurors with evidence of the seemingly odd behaviour that had turned public opinion against the Chamberlains earlier in the investigation. Whittaker testified that minutes after the alleged dingo attack, Michael Chamberlain had appeared at the doorway of her camper and announced, "A dingo has taken our baby and she's probably dead by now." Whitaker also reported Lindy saying, as she tried to comfort her, "Whatever happens, it is God's will." She also described
don't
Lindy and
believe that.
Michael walking alone together into the bush for 15 to 20 minutes, a time during which the prosecution later argued the Chamberlains might have buried their baby.
Oh, yeah, they can dig
Yeah.
a 6-foot hole.
Because the
and-
prosecution case depended heavily on convincing jurors that the blood that turned up in the Chamberlains' car belonged to Azaria, the Crown called to the stand Keith Leenan, a bleeding hitchhiker picked up by the Chamberlains, who the defence maintained might account for the presence of blood. Barker
I mean, they
wanted
got
to establish
kids.
that Lenihan did
Uh-huh.
not carry unusually high levels of fetal hemoglobin in his bloodstream.
Dipshits.
Reporters saw the tide
Yeah.
beginning to move a bit in the Crown's direction when a parade of forensic experts took the stand.
Experts.
Dr. Andrew Scott, a biologist from Adelaide, testified that his study suggested that the blood on Azaria's singlet flowed downward from what appeared to be from the cutting by a sharp instrument in the area of the neck.
Uh-huh.
Barry Cox testified that the jumpsuit seemed to be cut, not torn by a dingo.
Their teeth are pretty sharp.
Professor Malcolm Cakin, Australia's leading textile expert, demonstrated for the jury how cutting the jumpsuit produced small loops of toweling, much like those discovered by investigators in Michael Chamberlain's camera bag, where police had suspected Lindy might have temporarily hid the dead baby.
Uh-huh.
And all the blood
Cross,
that should have been
the
there.
defence got Cakin to admit that the loops might also have come from a new unwashed suit.
Mm.
Biologist Joy Curl, the prosecution's 35th witness, presented what the Crown saw
Fuck
as some
Karen
of its
Riedel,
most
for
damning
sure.
evidence.
Yep.
Cole told jurors that her tests proved that the blood found on the dash support bracket in the Chamberlain's Tirana belonged to an infant. On cross, Defence Counsel Phillips forced Cool to admit all the plates she used in her actual blood tests had been destroyed, a practice she called standard procedure in our laboratory. Phillips also raised some doubt about the accuracy of her test results, suggesting that the blood might well have come from the bleeding hitchhiker. The Crown dog bite witness, Mr. Bernard Sims, had investigated about 24 attacks by dogs on humans in his job as a London odontist. Sims saw nothing consistent with a dingo attack in Azaria's clothing, claimed that a dingo attack would cause copious bleeding, and indicated that a baby's head could not fit into the jaws of a dingo. On cross, Sims reaffirmed that the opening of a dingo's mouth wouldn't allow it to get over a baby's skull. Kirkham then surprised Sims with a photo of a dingo with the head of a baby-sized doll taken in it. Crown first, with the canine teeth reaching to the doll's ears. Sims, staring at the photograph, could only concede that his earliest supposition might have been mistaken. James Cameron was the final witness for the prosecution. Cameron, a professor of forensic medicine, testified that Azaria was killed by a cutting instrument across the neck or around the neck, held by a human. He exhibited...
Azaria was 10 weeks old, so it's a little bit firmer, but yes, they are absolutely malleable because there's five plates that aren't fixed together yet, so that allows them to move to
come out the uterus, the vagina, actually.
Come out the birthing canal.
Yeah. And it squishes in a bit.
Yeah, it's like shitting a watermelon, okay?
Yeah.
To the jury, slides of Azaria's clothing taken into his laboratory with ultraviolet light, which he believed showed the pattern of bloodied fingers. Cross-examination focused attention on previous cases in which Cameron's pro-prosecution testimony had helped incriminate what turned out to be innocent subjects. On October the 13th, the defence began its case. John Phillips ended his opening statement by calling Lindy to the stand. Tears slid down her face as she described the clothing her daughter was wearing that night. She said she laid her down. She had a white knitted marquee jacket with a pale lemon edging. Phillips asked Lindy to place her index finger next to Cameron's exhibit, which, the professor claimed, showed bloodied fingers. The point became obvious when spectators realised that the print made by so-called bloodied fingers showed 4 phalanges, while Lindy Chamberlain and virtually every other human on the planet have only 3. But if Ian Barker's cross-examination of Lindy was devoted to poking holes in her story about seeing a dingo in the vicinity of the family tent, he asked her to explain how a dingo shaking a bleeding baby would not have left large quantities of blood in and around the tent. He also challenged the defendant to account for the fetal blood which was experts claimed to have found in the family car.
Do you want to explain the
What that was?
amount? Yeah.
Yeah. Lindy and Michael actually lived in Mount Isa, which is a big mining town in Australia, and evidently they had a lot of red dust from Mount Isa in their car. And somebody else proved later that the reagent, that's what it's called, the reagent that they actually used in their little slide trays reacted with copper.
Test for fetal.
So everything in Mount Isa is fetal blood.
There she go.
On your doors, your windows,
She froze.
everywhere.
You froze.
Sorry?
You're lagging big time. You froze. We didn't hear any of that.
I better check whether my son is playing
Froze
games.
again.
I'll be back.
Bye-bye. Yeah, so the reagent they used to test the supposed blood in the car reacts to, I think it was it copper? I think it was copper. There's a high quantity of some mineral in the soil up in Mount Isa, and it just so happened that copper, yeah. Thank you. I don't know where you went, but come back. I'll keep playing this while we're waiting.
Lindy resisted, saying, "I'm not going to speculate how it got there." Near the end of his long cross-examination, Barker began asking questions that were really just statements for the jury. "Mrs. Chamberlain," the Queen's Counsel said at one point, "may I respectfully suggest to you that the whole dingo story is mere fantasy?" More than 24 defence witnesses followed Lindy to the stand. Several testified as to the Chamberlains' fine character and their grief over the loss of their daughter. Other witnesses told either of their both frightening encounters with Ayers Rock dingoes, or testified in general about the aggressiveness of the region's wild dogs. In addition, 8 defence forensic experts would attack the dubious tests or conclusions of the prosecution's experts on subjects ranging from fibre to blood evidence. The defence saw Professor Barry Botcher as one of its most important forensic experts. Botcher attacked Joy Cool's conclusions that the Chamberlain car contained significant quantities of fetal blood. In complicated testimony that might have flown right over the heads of the jurors, Botcher tried to explain why Cool's testing methods might have produced false positives for fetal blood. Later, another expert, Richard Nairn, would also pile on Coon's results, arguing that the sheer defence dingo expert Les Harris contended that a dingo after prey the size of Azaria would render the mammal immobile. It would be most unlikely to hang around with its prey, Harris contended. Harris said dingoes' kills in their field produce very little blood and that they characteristically shake their heads after taking prey to break the neck. Except for one recalled expert, the last defence witness was Michael Chamberlain. Ian Barker, in his cross-examination of Michael, focused heavily on his actions in the first hours after Azaria's disappearance. Barker suggested that Michael's failure to ask Lindy certain questions or to go running off into the bush in search of his daughter was because he already knew that Lindy had killed his daughter. Could it be because you knew that the dingo did not take her and that she was dead at the hands of your wife? Michael answered in a low voice. No. Barker pushed hard. The whole story is nonsense and you know it. No, Mr. Barker, Michael insisted. Courtroom observers concluded that Chamberlain's testimony lacked spirit. It seemed both weary and inappropriately nonchalant. When his long hours on the stand finally ended, he took a seat in the courtroom next to his wife and held her hands. Phillips, in his summation, stressed that the prosecution failed to provide even a remotely plausible explanation as to why Lindy Chamberlain would want to kill her own child. The prosecution has had 2 years and 3 months to think of a reason, he said, and they can't. Barker, summing for the Crown, admitted that no motive had to be proved, but insisted that was neither the prosecution's intent or its job. All the Crown says is that you should find the murder happened. He turned the tables by asking the jury to consider the lack of evidence that might suggest the dingo was guilty. How could you possibly convict the dingo on this evidence, he asked. Noting the lack of dingo hairs or drag marks by the tent, the fact that no one else saw it carrying a baby, and the relevantly undamaged condition of Azaria's jumpsuit. The case against the dingo would be laughed out of court, he concluded.
That's his argument.
On October the 28th, 1982, Justice Muirhead instructed the jury in a manner that generally pleased the defence. He reminded them that Sally Lowe distinctly remembered hearing a baby's cry coming from the Chamberlain's tent, and that if she was correct about that, then the prosecution's assertion that Azaria was at the time lying dead in the Chamberlain's car with her throat cut could not be true. Most journalists left the Darwin courtroom expecting an acquittal.
Not so fast. Look what I found. This used to be my favourite character back in the 80s. And I'm going to screenshot it whilst we're playing it. You ready? Battle Rush. I don't know why I used to like it. He was so naughty for them. So naughty. He had all this innuendo. It was hysterical. Oh, hang on. Get rid of you down there. Get rid of you. And get rid of you. All right. Part 2.
The second inquest was totally adversarial, and the Chamberlains had been warned that they would more than likely end up going to trial. It seemed the Crown's duty to be a minister for justice, and the Chamberlains had been warned that they would more than likely end up going to trial. It seemed the Crown's duty to be a minister for justice was ignored from that inquest.
Take two.
Since the decision had been made not to allow the defence to test any evidence, share any information, or witness lists,
Oh, yeah, it's working.
denied them their legal right
Yeah.
to defend themselves. The Chamberlains' best hope was to use the second inquest to try and learn what angle the Crown would take at the trial. In an extraordinary move, the Northern Territory Attorney-General had argued personally before the Territory Supreme Court for evidence to be withheld from the Chamberlains, and it had been granted. Since the Chamberlain defence did not have access to any of the evidence, they had to rely on reading the Crown's forensic scientist's notes. It was quite clear that the tests had been incomplete, and in the case of one test, the inventor of the test said that the Crown had not only done the test wrong, but read it wrong too. It came out in the trial that the lab had destroyed the test samples after the findings had been recorded and used up all of the samples collected, so there was none available to be tested by the defence anyhow. The jury did not know that the defence had not been allowed to do its own testing. One juror wrote in their notes, "Why didn't the defence test the blood in the car? Was it because they didn't dare take the chance? Or did they, and obviously couldn't tell us the results?" If there was any new evidence refuting the claims of the Crown, they could be heard in the appeals court, but only if it was totally new, like the finding of the matinee jacket. It's a subtle distinction. The matinee jacket had never been produced in court. Its only claim to existence was by Lindy. It was only ever considered as additional evidence and therefore could not be presented in the appeals court. It would have to be referred back to the Northern Territory, who could choose whether to reopen the case or not. It would appear that some of the members of the jury had already made up their minds before the trial. There was so much wrong with the case that there was never a doubt that an appeal wouldn't take place. The appeals process does not go over the evidence. It looks at the process. In other words,
Thanks, Elizabeth.
was the case presented legally, correctly, so that the jury was entitled to make a decision they had. Even though some of the appeal judges felt that the verdict of guilty was wrong, they upheld the right of the jury to make the decision they had. They found the Crown forensic scientist, Mrs. Joy Cool, to be very clear, patient, and friendly, as she explained all of the substances she'd found in the car, which she said was fetal blood. The defence scientist, while certainly more qualified as a scientist, was a university professor, whom the jury found talked over their heads using language that they did not understand. In the end, it seems that multiple misunderstandings had potentially
I've got an
sealed Lindy's
excuse.
fate. At least one juror boasted to neighbours that he was glad he was on the jury so that he could, quote, get the bitch. On October 29th, at 8:32 p.m, the foreman of the Chamberlain jury announced its verdict. The jury found Lindy guilty of murder and Michael guilty of being an accessory after the fact. Across Australia, the jury's verdict was greeted mostly with approval and in some places a sustained applause. Reports later indicated that the jury was initially considerably more divided than its verdict indicated, having first split 4 for conviction, 4 for acquittal, and 4 undecided. One juror later told the press, "It came down to whether you believed it was a dingo or not." Justice Muirhead sentenced Lindy to life in prison, but suspended Michael's sentence. "I consider it not only appropriate, but in the interests of justice to do so," he explained. 1 month after beginning her sentence at Berrima Prison outside of Darwin, Lindy Chamberlain gave birth to a second daughter, which she called Kalia. Let them try to make something out of that, she said. Lindy regained some freedom temporarily when she was released on bail pending her appeal. Her appeal to the federal court was rejected 3-0 in April of 1983. 10 months later, Australia's High Court also refused to set aside her conviction on a 3-1 vote, and Lindy found herself back in Block J of Berrima Prison.
Very interesting there that all her appeals were knocked back. That matinee jacket that they found later on, that was the crux of the prosecution's case, and I don't understand how on appeal that's been knocked out. Like, they said to her that she was a liar, that jacket didn't exist.
I don't think that had been found at the stage.
Yeah, no, it wasn't until 1986 that was found. Yeah. And also, too, that after she had that baby, I mean, I thought Michael got a suspended sentence so he could look after the children. Obviously, the two boys he was, but Kalia, he didn't. She went straight into foster care as soon as she was born. So, and she actually stayed in foster care for about 3 years, I believe, until they got her back. So, yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely.
As Lindy passed her days in a fortress on a ridge near Darwin, new reports casting doubt on the prosecution's scientific evidence helped spur a growing Free Lindy movement. Most damning of all, the new report was one showing that what the prosecution had claimed was the blood of a murdered child in the Chamberlain vehicle was in fact not even blood at all. It was paint emulsion.
Oh, that's the one up above the glove
well
box.
Over 100,000
yes.
Australians signed petitions calling for her release. The country remained, however, deeply divided on the issue, with one poll showing 52% of the nation's residents believing her guilty of murder. An English hiker named David Brett would quite unintentionally succeed in gaining Lindy's release after so many before him had failed. He did so in January 1986 by falling off Ayers Rock during an evening climb and killing himself. 8 days after his accident, Brett's body was discovered below the bluff where he had lost his footing. It just so happened to be in an area full of dingo lairs. As police scoured the area looking for missing bones that might have been carried off by dingoes, they discovered a once white jacket of a baby. Azaria's missing matinee jacket.
And it was amazing on that search too, was that most of the people out searching for that person that had fallen were young people, except for a couple of people. And the guy that actually found the matinee jacket was there at the original search at Ayers Rock. And
he was taking wildflower photos.
He was what?
Taking photos of wildflowers.
Yeah, exactly. And he was there at the original search, and he was on this other search for this other person as well. And if anybody else had seen that, they probably wouldn't have recognised it for what it was and how important an item it was that they found.
Yep. I think I have a cherry addiction.
The 379-page report generated by the Royal Commission was very critical of the investigation techniques of Joy Cool, James Cameron, and other prosecution witnesses in the trial. He put great weight on the credible accounts offered by the Chamberlain's fellow campers, noting, "It is extraordinary that the persons at the barbecue area at the time of Azaria's disappearance accepted Mrs. Chamberlain's story and noted nothing suggesting that she had suddenly just killed her daughter. Most damning of all, the new reports was one showing that what the prosecution had claimed was the blood of the murdered child in the Chamberlain's vehicle was the paint emulsion. Morling concluded, "I am far from being persuaded that Mrs. Chamberlain's account of having seen a dingo near the tent was false. And if the evidence before this commission had been given at the trial, and the trial judge would have been obligated to direct the jury to acquit the Chamberlains."
3.5 years, I think she spent.
Lindy was ultimately released
Mm.
from prison because of political
Yes.
pressure, and a journalist threatening to expose the way the Northern Territory government on the day had hidden and twisted the truth. September 15th, 1988, the Northern Territory Court of Criminal Appeals unanimously quashed all the convictions against Lindy and Michael Chamberlain. A month later, the Chamberlains held a victory feast for invited guests at the Avondale Gardens cafeteria. Among those invited by the Chamberlains were defence witnesses and lawyers, a couple whose daughter was taken from their car by Dingo, and journalists and politicians who had supported them during the long ordeal. Lawyer Ken Crispin, in a speech, praised the Chamberlains for being remarkably free of bitterness or self-pity. The Chamberlains travelled to Sydney to see a preview of the movie based on their experience, A Cry in the
That's what we're
Dark.
going to watch.
Lindy, in her book Through My Eyes, called the movie, based on John Bryson's fine account of the case, 95% accurate, and said that no other actress would have been able to play her better than Meryl Streep.
Oh, and Meryl Streep believed her too,
Lindy
and was
Chamberlain
right
wrote in the
into
last
her.
pages of her 1990 book, and now we wait. We wait for the Northern Territory to pay us what they owe. September 15th, 1988. The Northern Territory Court of Criminal Appeals unanimously quashed all the convictions against Lindy and Michael Chamberlain.
I put the wrong
A month
wrong
later,
sound on it.
the Chamberlains held a victory feast
repeated
for
it.
invited guests at the Avondale Gardens cafeteria. We wait for the Northern Territory to pay us what they owe.
Is there any blame to be appropriated for the number of trials and its recent
Yeah.
I love that.
No.
Why has it gone on for
Thumbs
so
it up,
long?
doesn't it?
Is there any particular
Yeah.
reason for that? It is a most unusual case.
Yeah, we keep fighting for justice. That's the reason for it. If we would
That's
lie
Lindy
down and
Chamberlain.
say die, we would have stopped a long time ago. And I was told straight out, look, if you'd say you'd have been out in 3 or 4 months. So until you say you're guilty, you can jolly well stay there. That was when I was in jail. And I said, no, you know, if you tell a lie and say you're guilty, you can go home. But if you tell the truth, you can stay out until you
Sound
do
familiar?
what we want.
To the thought
Or
of
if you say no
that
comment.
might be the easy way out.
Okay.
So how do you see the difference between a pardon, which you have, and the convictions being quashed? Is there a great deal of difference, in your opinion?
There's an ocean of difference between those two. One, to quash a conviction means it was wrong, it should never have been, and it was not so in the first place. To get a pardon means you did what they said you did, and you've been a good little girl, you've been a good little boy, so now you can go away.
And I mean, I think that's part of Lindy's problem.
Pardon for something you didn't do in the first place. It leaves you no satisfaction, no joy.
This is Lindy's
That day
problem.
finally came 2 years later, when she received $1.3 million in compensation from the
1.3.
Northern Territory government
she
for
got.
Back in the
wrongful
80s.
imprisonment. That really doesn't sound like a great deal of money to me. Not for what she's lost.
For 3.5 years
Yeah,
in
but
jail.
come on. But back in the 80s, come on, I started my first real job as a trainee accountant in 1986. And like I used to take home $150 a week, mate. And that was really good pay. And then I left them for another job that paid me 25 grand a year.
Whilst
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whilst I was searching for the movie, I came across this. Have you seen
Okay.
what it says? Yeah. It's the erotic music radio station. I love making music.
Okay. The erotic chill out lounge.
Sexy and
Are
romantic.
you were born to I got married in 1990, Elizabeth.
I forgot that. Oh, it's muted. There you go.
Okay, and why were you looking for that?
No, it came up when I was. What the fuck to that? When I was looking for the movie, it popped up in my feed.
Okay.
Do you want to
Have you seen the movie before, Jodie?
A long time ago. Long
time ago.
Ah.
Yeah, they also did a TV series too, which was pretty graphic. It was done before this. Hey, Missy.
It did. I did.
Yeah. She wasn't looking for it at all.
Yeah. She sat on his knee and said, "Can we talk about the first thing that pops up?" So tomorrow, Tanya is going to take us through where they are now, what the kids are doing, and a few other little tidbits.
Interesting information.
Yes, connected to the case. But yeah, I actually emailed her press manager last night to see if she would be prepared to come and do a Zoom call or even just a 5-minute phone call.
No,
I
maybe tomorrow night.
Because she's in our neck of the woods. So if they respond, I will.
Because she lives up somewhere in the Hunter Valley.
Yeah.
I just put that up there. Stop it.
Sorry. Oh, did you watch that stream? That
Yes.
was fucking hysterical. Absolutely hysterical.
Some of them toys that you found was...
Where's my delivery? I think it sent me
Have you got it yet?
No. It sent me a delivery update.
Update.
Awfully sorry for the delay. Timu, your order has been packed. Order shipped. Here we go. Track my order. It is due on the 8th.
That's today.
Right.
That's today. Oh, I sent you 2 texts today about a package that they've taken to the parcel locker at Forest Hill.
How did you know that?
Because I bought it for you and got it sent to you.
Oh, you knob. I was waiting for ink to be delivered for my printer. I thought it was that.
Oh, right. Did you? No, it's not. Maybe a little bit. I'm just trying to... Oh, no. Just moving my camera a little bit. There we go.
Now, do you want to go and get a coffee or some popcorn or some snacks or whatever you'd like before you start this? All right.
I'll be back shortly.
Anyone else who wants to make themselves comfy? Get a nice warm blankie, nice hot cup of Milo or cocoa or whatever you call it over there. Actually, have a wee might be a good one. I'll be needing to do that when Missy gets back. And I apologise for the quality of this movie. As I said at the start, it's a 1988. Oh, Tricia. That's fucking shit. So no heating, nothing. Have you got an open fire or anything that you can warm the house up? Or any other form of heating that's not electric? Oh, that's freezing. Be freezing. I really think I've got a cherry addiction. I eat about half a kilo a day. Could be worse. Okay. Have you got any of those? You know those things you can get from the pharmacy that you crack open and then the chemical reaction happens and they get nice and warm, like a heat pack type thing? Maybe a couple of them might help. Well, but no one can deliver either. Wrapped up, ready, ate some pizza. Oh, yum. Oh, yeah, but you can get bigger ones of them too. I used to get them for my back. Now I have an electric one, but that's not going to help you. So I apologize for the stuff up with the video. I don't know why it did that, but who the fuck knows? Yeah. Holy shit. So you're literally snowed in. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Try and open that photo. Let me find it again. Now, if I put it into my drive, what do I put it under? Try there. Now, will it let me open it and share it? The fuck? There you go. Where'd it go? Oh, there. All right, move that over there. Can I full screen it? Hang on. Share this tab instead. And then, oh, there we go. Now, can I make it bigger? Yes, I can. Look at that. That's at Teresia's house. Oh, okay. How's that for a covering? It looks really, really pretty, but fuck. So how many inches of snow do you reckon you got? That is the cutest lamp ever. Actually, you know what? That is a beautiful picture. Bloody hell. I'm going to have to screenshot that because that is lovely. Ah, ah. Where is it? The defense vests. Now let me see if I can. Open it through here. It's stupid because the editing software I use often doesn't save it in the right format, so you've got to save it. And is there? No, invalid file type. You motherfucker. Let me see if I can bring it in another way. Just background. Let it go. There. Aha! More than one way to skin a cat. There we go. Ta-da! It is now the background. Oh, come on, Tan. I got a wee. I think she might have messaged me. She did. Start movie. I need to go to the loo. All right. Hurry up, because I do too. All right. Oh, and I've dropped it. Share screen. There's something really funny, or you'll find really funny. I might have been lurking today. You know what I'm talking about, T. And someone had decided that they were finally going to do a live stream. You know who I'm talking about. And they're doing a special on serial killers. And there was an article that had to be read out about it as an introduction. And she had gone through and changed and redacted every word that said killer to unaliver. Oh, I shit you not. Go and have a look at the the one that says, I'm back. Are you ready? Or something like that. I mean, really? Really? I have not had not one issue with YouTube. And I have not said the word pew pew once since then. It's ridiculous. All right, I'm going to have to put this on and go and have a wee myself, or I'm going to pee my pants.
Stand before you today with their two boys, Aidan and Regan, with their new little daughter and baby sister.
This is the Meryl Streep, the original movie about this. Yeah.
Azaria Chantel Lauren Chamberlain, who you have lent us, Lord, and we're here to dedicate her life back to you. We would ask the family and friends and congregation to stand and promise to set a proper example for this child as she grows up.
All clear to the church, mate. Jesus. Have a look at those fucking Adventists. Talk about up yourself. Money, mate. More than you can poke a fucking stick at.
you in about 2 months' time. You will. In here, Jenny. I finished it.
Oh, it's pretty.
Thank you.
Thought I'd come and help you pack.
Oh, well, I'm pretty much ready.
Black? Oh, yuck.
That was my baby dress.
Was it, darling?
Yes. I like black.
You may not believe that your body is a temple of God, but tonight we face not a belief, but a fact. And the fact is that your body is the only body that you will ever own. Now, I want you to throw away your cigarettes, your pipes, your tobacco, your cigars, before they throw you away.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Oh, well, I got everything done. Recorded 6 weeks of programs. Saw everyone I had to see. I finished my counselling. Just. Do you remember to post my study leave application?
I did. I think it's time we started our holidays, don't you?
This is where we are here.
Mm-hmm. Where did Gran and Granddad live?
Well, they live down here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we lived last year near Cairns. And up here, right up in the north, is where you catch the biggest barramundi in the world. Which is where Daddy really wanted to go for holiday, but your mother had other plans.
What's a barramundi?
A fish dinner for 12.
Not the ones your father catches.
Now. And this is where we're going, boys, down here. Devil's Marbles, the Olgas, and Ayers Rock, the biggest rock in the world.
Wow.
Tell me what's in that cave up there.
Be careful. Yeah, Dingo.
Kids, go here quickly.
Go on, come on.
Go on, have a
Michael,
Okay,
look.
I'm finished here. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, so he climbed up on his camel.
Hello.
And I climbed up. Hello.
Ride, Mum?
And we all went riding around that ring, and my camel went, and his camel went.
Hey, Mum, listen to this one.
You wouldn't get me up there.
No. Have you been up? Are you mad?
Look at that bloke. He's keen. You reckon he'll make it?
Not if he brings that six-pack.
Oh, look at this idiot.
Oh, talk about stupid.
What a nut.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
That's my husband. No, he wouldn't be doing that unless it was safe.
Over here, Bobby. Oh, that's beautiful. Smile, darling. Smile for Daddy.
Smile,
That's a good girl. Good girl. Just wind it on, darling. Just wind it on. Okay.
I'll rush it to the top.
Smile for Mummy.
Come on, now. Michael, the boys.
Boys.
You get that little body in there. Bit better. See? Oh, you love your heart. You see, Daddy? Where is he, sweetheart? Ooh, la 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 la. Ooh, Daddy. Hello, sweetie. Where's your Daddy?
You right there, darling?
Well, don't want to miss the sunset, you know.
Yeah. Might want to see if the boys are in their pajamas. Might even try to get them in the car.
Boys. No, well, it's certainly automatic. Why don't you use the...
I'll get it in a sec. You're a teacher. Come on, you got to be a teacher.
Oh, come on. Look, I'll give you 3 more guesses. If you don't get it by then, well, maybe I'll tell you tomorrow.
A bank clerk. I'll be buggered if you're not a bank clerk.
Regan went right out to it. I can't get Bubby to settle, though.
Oh, look, I'm sorry I don't know your names, but this is my wife, Lindy.
Hi.
G'day.
And this is little
Is
Aiden.
he playing games with you?
And I'm Michael.
He's a terror when he's on his holidays.
Oh, it couldn't be as bad as this one. Hi, I'm Sally.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Greg.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, it's with Dingo. Here, fella.
Oh, don't encourage him, Michael. The signs say he shouldn't. I saw you this afternoon, going up the rock with a baby in a backpack. Carrying a 6-pack. I thought you were cracked.
It's bloody thirsty work climbing.
Can I have a look-see?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Greg, the worst thing for a thirst is
Oh,
alcohol.
you've got to be joking, mate. The worst thing for a thirst is sand.
Hello. Hello.
Can't keep his blankets on it.
She's so tiny.
Yeah.
Thought she was
Teeny
bigger
one.
than
She's
that.
beautiful.
And what's your name?
That's Chantel.
No. Chantel, Michael. That's this one's second name.
Yeah?
Yeah. You don't happen to know what it means by any chance?
Oh, it's French for gypsy lead singer, I think.
Well, 200 Blackbird Street Station.
I've gone into town 10 times a day. I had the
Come on, you're never going to get me to believe you're a farmer.
That's a beautiful bike. It's a
Get
red
out.
Triumph Twin 500.
What are you looking for, Aiden?
Absolutely
A mouse.
fantastic. The hardest thing I've ever done in my life is to sell it.
Oh.
It's down here, sweetheart.
Oh,
Cheeky buggers.
Wow. I had one follow me back from the rubbish bin before.
Eh?
These are ready, honey.
Come on, sweetheart.
Oh, it's finally conked out. I'm going to go put her down. Bedtime. Be right back.
Want to try one of these, Greg?
Yeah, I've got some room left. Yeah. Shit. What kind of bloody sausage is that?
Vegetarian.
Christ. Now I know what you are. You're Bugs' bloody buddy, aren't you? Jesus. Feed the man meat, mate.
Oh, Ace. Dad, give it this. This is tops.
But if I had the day, I'd buy a BMW RT1000. Now, there's a beautiful bike. It'll do in excess of 255 miles an hour.
Bullshit.
Yeah. In free fall.
Get out.
Crikey, how's your kidneys?
Fair go, I haven't even started yet. Never trust a man who doesn't drink. Can I tempt you, Michael?
Have you any idea what that stuff has done to your brain, Craig?
Come
Did she
on.
settle?
That's Azaria crying, honey.
Pardon?
That's Daddy, Mummy.
Are you sure? She was fast asleep.
Are you trying to tell me there's something wrong with drinking beer?
Well, Greg, they've done tests in the United States about the correlation between alcohol consumption and fall.
Go, get out.
University.
There's Dingo in the tent.
Did you go to university, Greg?
Dingo's got the baby!
You can drink it.
God, no, please, God, help me. That Dingo's got my baby!
What? We're coming. Hey, wait here.
I can't see. Michael! You can't see, it's too dark. You need a torch.
Where?
Michael, that way! You can't see! You need a torch! Has anybody got a torch? The Dingo's got my baby! Has anybody got a torch? Please help me!
Dingo's taking my baby. What? I need a torch. Have you got it?
It's better if I go. You right there, love?
How could you get the police? I can't get this started.
Yeah, don't you worry about it.
Oh, your baby. Dingo's taking the baby up there.
Hey, what's all the fuss?
Dingo got your baby.
What did happen?
The dingo can't have our Bobby and it's tiny one.
Jesus, I'll look after her, darling. Now, you stay by the tent. I have to keep looking and you have to be there in case your little brother wakes up. Okay? I've got to keep looking, darling. You stay here.
I need a torch.
Here, take mine.
There's no good, there's no beam.
Here, Dad.
Go now.
360.
Seven. Do you recognise
What are you doing, mate? What are you, lost?
I've lost my baby.
Had a bit of drink, face.
Come on, boy. Come on. There's a good. Come on.
Come on, baby. You can show me where your sleeping bag is, darling.
Regan's dead.
No, he's all right.
He's dead, he's dead.
No, look, see? Let's just tuck it out. He's fine. Now, look, I'll just be sitting outside on this rail here, all right? Just outside, okay?
Hey, careful not to step on any tracks, you blokes, won't you?
Whatever we find, mate, there's no joy for you. You know that, don't you?
I've seen what dogs do to lambs, mate.
That one there. You're the parent.
Yeah.
How big was the child?
9 weeks. 9 to 10 pounds.
God, have you double checked inside the tent?
Yeah, of course we have.
What was it wearing?
White jumpsuit. White. Everything white.
It was wearing white. Ian, get
White
on the rock.
jumpsuit, white matinee jacket.
You stay close to the camp in case I need you, please.
Constable, our daughter returned to us, no matter what. We want her back.
Anyone seen a head ranger?
Jesus Christ.
Torches on. Group C, move down that way. Group A, down that way. The rest of you, follow me. Spread out, please. Keep a straight line, arm's length.
The Bible says at the second coming, the babies will be restored to their mother's arms.
Mrs. Chamberlain? I'm Bobby Downs. I'm the district nurse here. How long's the baby?
A little over an hour. I'm going to throw up. Why aren't they searching just there? Might have dropped it this close. And I couldn't bear that. She died because he didn't look in the right place.
There. The baby's finished. Finished, you know.
They've been out there for ages. We should get you to a motel.
No, we have to stay here for the police. Besides, we don't have the money. Oh, look.
People? Folks, it's my daughter you're looking for. And I want to thank you all for what you're doing. I'm a minister of religion. And I know that nothing happens in the world unless God allows it. And I know that there's little hope any longer of finding our little daughter alive. But I am thankful that we will see her again at the resurrection. Let us pray. Lord, be with these willing and kindly people as they help look for our little one tonight. Help them look.
Mummy, you have to stay in here.
It's all right, Harry.
It's like a morgue in that tent.
There's room for that over here.
Oh, that'll be all right. Always keep it down there. Is this an expensive motel?
You don't have to worry. I've spoken to them. You can stay as long as you need. There'll be no charge.
G'day. I put you in room 34 at the end of the path.
We prayed for a daughter. He gave us a daughter. Why would he take her away?
They should have warned us. The signs never said. I'd have slipped them on in the car if only I'd known. If only we'd known.
There has to be a reason. There's got to be a reason.
We slept her in that tent. And I zipped it up when I put Regan down. I should have zipped it up when I put her in. Even if it was only for a minute. Oh, what are we going to tell our parents, Michael?
Yes, she should have zipped the tent up.
Sorry. I'm freezing.
You can't be freezing. I've got the heater on. What are you doing?
My sleeping bag.
Can't do that. It's got blood in it.
Yours has, mine hasn't. I'm sorry. But I'm freezing. Heating or not. It's so cold. And she was so little.
Mummy? Mummy? I'm just praying that Jesus will keep the dingo's mouth shut like he did Daniel in the lion's den. And he won't let me tell Bobby.
Oh, darling. She's so little. Jesus wouldn't let her have any pain.
Mm-hmm.
But if Bubby had a little cold, you know. It's so freezing out there. Daddy and I believe Bubby's dead, sweetheart. And Jesus is going to look after her now, wherever she is, till he comes to take us all home to heaven.
And she'll be better because Jesus will make her better. She won't have the hiccups anymore, will she?
My little Grandy had the hiccups the other day. She's so cute. Yeah, it is.
Michael, the police are here.
Yeah, I knew you meant sad, Teresa.
Sorry, Mrs. Chamberlain, no news yet, I'm afraid. Will you be in later for me to bring around a notification of death for the coroner's court?
Oh, yes. Yes. Or in the office phoning our parents.
Thank you.
Positive thing,
Michael,
Meryl Streep's haircut is a lot better than Lindy's was.
Mummy, where's Bobby?
Just putting the name of the child.
Hi, Mrs. Chamberlain. Thought you might like some help with the boys.
Oh, thanks.
I got some Lasix from their clinic.
Beg your pardon?
Tablets help dry up your milk.
Oh, yes.
And, you'll be needing this breast pump most likely.
Mr. Chamberlain, there are press calling. I have the ABC radio on the line. They insist on talking to you.
What would you advise? We were just about to eat. We heard her cry out, and my wife hurried back to the tent. She saw a big yellow dog coming out of the tent. Over.
It was a dingo, Michael, not a big yellow dog. A dingo.
Azaria, Chantel, Lauren. Over.
Oh, I can't pause.
Says it, mate.
Right, that's what.
Well, it had probably stalked the baby because we'd been there the second night.
Listen to this.
To many, this is called Ayers Rock, but to us, it'll always be Azaria's Rock.
Is that you, Mr. Chamberlain? Over.
Speaking, over.
Look, I was wondering whether you might be able to take a few photographs to run with this story. Well, look, we can't get up there to cover this, unfortunately. There's just no way. But you do want people to be warned about the dangers up there, don't you? Over.
This is the mistake they really made, is talking to the press and talking to the police.
She'll never have a grave. Nothing to remember it by. Boys, just stand in front of the tent for a minute, will you?
Yeah. Just keep going, if you would. Thank you. Right through. Mr. Chamberlain, when you're ready.
Well, we were very shocked, of course, but at that stage we still had some hope that...
Can we just do that again, or just...
No, that's okay. I've done some journalism myself. I think I know what you mean.
Okay, we're right, rolling. Okay, thank you. And go.
Well, it was shocking, but we just held out some little hope. But when we saw the spots of blood on the tent, we knew as we looked that this was a very quick event. And this morning when we saw the sharp, ripped, jagged marks on that very thickly woven blanket, that this was a powerful beast with very sharp teeth. It was more than a domestic dog that did this.
Okay, stop it there. It gets boring after this. Now run this. I want to cut to her.
That won't cut.
Yes, it will. It'll cut if you wait till after the van right there and put his last line over to disguise the question.
And I want some good sci-fi music to go over this to give it some atmosphere, understand?
News is art, huh?
I want that.
We knew that this was a powerful beast with very sharp teeth.
There's more to this than meets the eye.
Domestic dog that did this.
Hey, Jacko, did you hear that?
Oh, I just yelled. It wasn't time to go and tell people. Has anybody got a torch? The dingo's got my baby.
A dingo. They must think we come down the last bloody shower. The parents, Michael and Lindy Chamberlain, both Seventh-day Adventists, say they've accepted the baby's death as the will of God. They're expected to leave Ayers Rock tomorrow for their Mount Isa home.
Christ, I don't believe this.
I could have picked somewhere else.
You blame a dingo, a dumb animal who can't defend itself.
Well, I can't believe how the dingo can have taken the baby and it's never been found.
Because it ate it.
Inspector Gilroy.
Don't they get that? It ate it.
I'm sorry we
The
have
dingo
to.
ate the baby.
Thank you.
Lord, help me to talk about it.
I believe you've already given Constable Morris some items for identification this morning.
What has it done?
That's the dingo that took Bubby.
And where did the dingo take Bubby?
The dingo took Bubby shopping.
He loves shopping.
It's never happened before. That's right. Kids have been bitten. Bloody lassie.
That's 10 pounds. That's what the baby weighed. Go on, have a go. Now, you can't tell me a dingo got halfway up the hill without taking a breather.
How long could you hold that for? How long could you hold that?
That's right, just feel the weight of it.
It's the parents. It's the way the parents go on. Was if you fell
We've come to shoot the dog snipper. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Let him get used to the idea.
Yeah, dingoes are wild animals in Australia, so they can't be
Morning, Mrs. Chamberlain.
kept as pets.
We don't want to shoot any.
But I think there's now an exemption for the Aboriginal people.
No, they're all bits. There's nothing like it.
That's it, I'm not taking another photograph.
We found more blood on Aiden's parka.
Oh, no. We have enough blood with the blanket.
Oh, good. It's the only warm coat he has.
Well, you have a list of the places we'll be.
Fine. You'll be advised of the date of the coroner's inquest.
We should search that car.
They've had it bad enough.
Yeah, it is tragically sad, Elizabeth. It's funny when it was happening though. It was a debate, and everybody crucified this woman. And I mean, I was part of it.
After the mysterious disappearance of their baby daughter, Rosaria, Mount Isa's Seventh-day Adventist pastor, Michael Chamberlain, and his wife, Lindy, are expected to arrive home late today. The Chamberlains were on a camping trip with Ayers Rock at the time.
Michael.
Oh, isn't that lovely? See, that's what Aussies do. We do that stuff. And I know you guys do too. I believe the youngest little boy, that the dingo actually walked on him when it took Azaria.
Consider yourselves fortunate when all kinds of trials come your way. For you know that when your faith succeeds in facing such trials, the result is the ability to endure. Make sure that your endurance carries you all the way without failing, so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. But if any of you lacks wisdom, he should pray to God, who will give it to him, because God gives generously and graciously to all.
You're right, Teresia. Couldn't imagine
When you
something
pray,
like that.
Lindy, is this blood? Don't let Michael see it. It'll upset him. Just put it up there.
They're not locals.
Yes, can I help you?
Mrs. Chamberlain?
Yes, that's right.
I'm from the Woman's Day. We rang you.
Oh, yes.
Can I just say how sorry I am? I'm a mother myself. And please accept the condolences of everyone at the Woman's Day.
Thank you.
Is that Deborah Lee Furness? You know, Hugh
We'd like to
Jackman's
tell
wife?
Azaria's story, Mrs. Chamberlain.
I think it is.
To make sure that this never happens again, to warn everyone. We'd put her on the front page of our magazine and show the whole world what a beautiful baby she was. May we come in?
I'll take these back. There's no sense in wasting good money.
No, I'll give it to Wendy.
Yeah, it is Deborah Lee Furness. There you go.
Where's my Bobby? Where's my Bobby in a big black duck? Where's my Bobby? Where's my Bobby? Where's my Bobby in a big black duck? Where's my Bobby? Where's my Bobby? Where's my Bobby in a big
Hmm.
Don't worry.
Sorry.
Go back the way I found it.
Blood-stained baby clothes found at Ayers Rock are believed to be those of a...
I've missed half the movie, haven't I?
No, only 33 minutes. Yeah, I can't pause it because you're sharing your screen, but when it's the other one that you've
Yeah.
put in there, I can pause it and stuff.
Yeah, it's a video I've uploaded, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. All right,
Yeah, no.
Teresa, I don't think Meryl does look like Lindy at that age.
Don't you? Oh, I do.
Oh, even the haircut's not the same, man. But
So,
like, yeah, she's got a better haircut.
thank you. I don't know what's going on with my stomach. It's making all these great sounds. That's it.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right.
Zaria Chamberlain, allegedly dragged from her
How
family
far
tent
back
by a
was-
dingo last week.
How far back was it where the dingo...
Oh, it's right at the beginning.
All right, I'll watch it later.
A tourist found the white jumpsuit, singlet, nappy and booties folded at the
Folded?
bottom of a cave near a dingo lair. The results of a
Where's her
forensic
matinee
investigation
jacket?
into the clothing to be conducted in Adelaide are expected within a few days.
She actually
However,
does...
the baby's father...
Lindy's originally from New Zealand. So she does an
Yes,
awesome...
both the Chamberlains are.
Yeah, does an awesome... No, it's not a bug. It happened to me the other day. And I kept getting, like, cramps to go. And then I felt like, oh, my God, I've got to go now. And then as soon as I sat down, it disappeared. And I could sit there for 10 minutes and my legs would go numb and nothing. And I did that 3 times. And it started again.
I'm sad that your hubby's got it, Teresa, but I don't think Jodie could catch it from here.
And poof, I'm back again.
Mr. Michael Chamberlain seems convinced that
If
his
I
daughter was
disappear,
taken by
you
a
know why.
dingo.
When we saw the spots of blood in the tent, we realized as we looked that this was...
My God, did you talk to that?
No, that's when we were at the Rock.
What's his name?
Yeah, you see, Deborah Lee Furness, Hugh Jackman's ex-wife, is in it too.
I'm in charge of the
And Ian McFadden.
Darwin.
Who's the actor playing Michael?
Hang on, I will tell you because I have the whole cast up. Because I was thinking,
Oh,
shit, that looks
the
like
Hugh
Deborah Lee Furness. Sam Neill.
Yeah, yes.
Been reading through your reports. I noticed. This doctor's rumors from Mount Isa. Did you check it out?
Yes, I have. Well, they seem groundless.
Yeah, what about this stuff here about sacrifice in the wilderness?
Uh-huh.
Azaria. It's a pretty weird name, isn't it? No. Now, I heard it means sacrifice in the bloody wilderness. Now, that's
What, you reckon they took the kid up there to sacrifice?
Yeah.
What, the whole
They
group?
probably did.
The kid was always dressed in black. So was the bloody mother.
She dressed it in black all the
Yeah,
time.
well, I heard a rumor.
This is called A Cry in the Dark in America.
That's the American version, or Evil Angels.
Evil Angels. Yep. Fair sucking the sav, mate. It's not fucking right.
The kid was really bloody cracked and she couldn't handle it, and that's what happened.
Yeah, but there was supposed to have been an accident before they got there. He's supposed to have fallen out of the trolley jeep. Now, if something was wrong with him...
And they're Seventh-day Adventists.
Those sort of people don't like children that aren't normal.
That was the other issue.
Tell me what really
happened to
Being a Seventh-day Adventist.
anybody else?
Yeah.
We didn't understand them.
Well, Sergeant Charwood, would you care to identify the doctor that made those allegations?
No comment.
I'm told that the Dingo tracks headed off.
At least the slides I forgot to pick up before we went to the away.
Mum and Dad, come and have a look. Oh, yes. It's a new bike.
It's Reagan. I didn't realise. I thought it must have been at the end of the roll.
No, Olivia.
I quite like that one. That's where she still had her hair. She was so beautiful, I wish it.
I wish I'd seen her.
The last time I stood before you was also at the invitation of the Chamberlain family. That was a happier day. We celebrated the birth of their little daughter. We welcomed her into the heart of our church, dedicating her life to God and asking for his blessing and guidance in her life. A life that has suddenly, sadly ended.
A lot of people watching would ask why you're prepared to be interviewed.
Hey, Dale, come and have a look at this, will you?
Why you're making your grief so public.
Jesus, what a wank.
Well, we believe that this experience has been needful for a lot of people. If they can realize too that there is a chance, that there is an opportunity to be at peace, to be at rest with the help of the Lord.
Michael's not in jail. No, he's not. He's at a church convention in Townsville. The police, they never. Oh, that's a load of Aussie bulldust. They're playing games with you. Yeah, well, I don't blame you being worried. Yeah, righto, Peter. Thanks for calling. Bye.
Was that Michael's brother?
Can you believe it? The rumours are in New Zealand already.
A lie goes round the world while truth's still putting its boots on, sweetheart.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Marcus,
Chamberlain interview, take one.
can you tell us about some of the rumours that are going around town?
Yes, one story is that we're part of a bizarre cult that's part of the Jones massacre, South America, that we're part of that. Another one that's come back just this afternoon is that because we're placing the can
Thanks,
is
Mum.
that this is the other half of a bizarre murder ritual, taking away the sins of the entire Seventh-day Adventist church.
This is a photo of Azaria's clothing, and it shows bad blood stains and a bad tear on the left arm. And it would seem difficult for a dog to get the baby out of there. I mean,
Yes, well, if you've ever seen a dingo eat, there's no difficulty at all. If you've seen
Yeah.
them eat carcass of a cow, something like that.
She needed to learn to keep her mouth closed was her
They're
problem.
like hands, and they just
Too many
pull back the
interviews,
skin as
too
they
much,
go.
and they
Just
didn't.
peel it like an orange.
I mean, I don't know. I couldn't say that, like, and think that my baby had had that done to her without bursting into tears. It was not even my baby.
Crack walnuts on her face.
No, it couldn't crack walnuts on her face. That's one of our Aussie sayings.
People love this rubbish.
Not a very nice one.
But you put us on the front page, we're all over the television. I won't have it, do you hear me? I won't have it. This has got to stop.
What they'd already written was much worse. I just tried to correct them and give them the facts.
Look, will you listen to me? These people aren't receiving facts.
I'm told there's no trace of saliva on the clothes, none whatsoever.
What, none?
And our experiments so far tell us that the cuts on the jumpsuit weren't made by Dingo's teeth either.
Fine. Jesus Christ. According to the cops, the forensic blokes reckon there's no way a dingo could have killed that Chamberlain kid. Not by the state the clothes were in.
I tell you, these bloody Chamberlains, they wouldn't know the bloody truth if it got up and bit them on the arse.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Chamberlain.
Yes, Lindy.
Graham Charlotte. Spoke to you on the phone.
Oh, yeah. Now I can put a face to the voice. Come in.
Thanks. Well, I see you're packing up.
Yes, we're moving back to Avondale College. My husband's study leave came through.
Well, I'm glad I dropped by. I'm gathering information for the coroner's inquest.
Fine. It's about time something was done. The Northern Territory Police have been hopeless.
I'm from the Northern Territory Police.
My husband, Michael.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Charlotte. How do you do?
Feeling is very high here in Alice Springs as the first sessions of the Azaria Chamberlain inquest start today.
Alice Springs is the focus of the nation's media.
Just love faith in your religion after what you've been through.
If anything, our faith has been strengthened by what's happened.
Pastor Chamberlain, you believe that Nazari's death was an act of God, don't you?
Chamberlain, is it true you're severely depressed after the birth of Derek?
Do you believe Azaria's death was a punishment for travelling on your Sabbath?
Well, is it not the case that you wrote some sort of thesis on dingoes when you were at college?
It is not the case. It's a press invention.
That arose from the Women's Day article.
Well, I thought it came from a newspaper.
Was the Women's Day article accurate?
No, it was the most inaccurate article of all, or at least of the ones that I've read so far. In fact, there are only about 5 reporters who write exactly what you say, and the rest of them use a little bit of license.
Perhaps I could read you something from Dr. Brown's report. There were several small cuts in the baby blankets, but there was no evidence of tooth marks.
Well, teeth cut, don't they?
A forensic dentist finds no evidence of tooth marks. Does that concern you?
Well, of course it concerns me. But he doesn't know what caused the cuts. And if he can't say what happened, how can he say what didn't happen?
So you're not prepared to accept his expertise in saying that there were no teeth
I'm not
marks?
saying that. I'm saying what I'd like is a full answer, not a half answer. I'd like to know more than anyone else what happened to my baby daughter.
They're a native creature of this country and we are using them as a scapegoat now.
Yeah? What about it? They're still a wild animal. They've still got to kill for their
They are a
prey.
native creature of Australia. They're a beautiful animal. Now, if you tell me that bitch is innocent and a dingo is guilty, I'll punch your fucking head in.
Sure. That's really lovely, Reg.
Hands up.
Fighting for the dingo.
He's guilty. Come on.
Now, Mr. Chamberlain. Pastor, if I could ask you about the hair colouring on the head of the baby in the photograph that you took of Mrs. Chamberlain with the baby at the side of Ayers Rock.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that, please?
If I could ask you about the hair colouring on the head of the baby in the photograph that you took.
We seek a short adjournment, Your Worship.
We support the application, Your Worship.
Court is adjourned for 5 minutes.
You know, Maury Fields, he used to be on High Heights Saturday. He's passed away now too.
Alice Springs, a death threat has interrupted the Azaria Chamberlain inquiry. Shortly after
Justice Barrett ordered 24-hour protection for the Chamberlains following the death threat here in the Alice Springs
Barrett
court.
will move the Azaria Chamberlain inquest to Ayers Rock tomorrow in order to make a first-hand inspection of the Chamberlain campsite and the nearby barbecue area.
Just such a media circus.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
I don't believe it. Oh, well, that's it. Or should I let them know how I feel? From now on, I'm going to keep myself to myself.
And you should have done that from the start.
People can turn on you like a pack of hungry animals, can't they?
Probably be a bomb.
Be ridiculous.
There's a bomb then, is there?
You've been informed, have you?
No.
Well, yeah, there's a bomb. We'll have to take you out by the pool. Every time we open the front door, the media goes nuts, waiting for a pajama shot.
I told you, Michael.
To you, Pastor and Mrs. Chamberlain, and through you to Aidan and Regan, may I extend my deepest sympathy. You've not only suffered the loss of your beloved child in the most tragic circumstances, but you've all been subjected to months of innuendos, suspicion, and some of the most malicious gossip ever witnessed in this country. I've taken the unusual step of permitting these proceedings to be televised today, in the hope that by direct and accurate communication, such innuendos, suspicion, and gossip may cease. This case clearly emphasizes that a choice has to be made between dingoes on one hand and tourism on the other.
Cheeky bastard.
Once again,
On
during
national
this
television.
inquisition, I've had the occasion to criticize the work performed by the Northern Territory Police.
He doesn't know shit from Clay, this fella. What's his religion?
Non-reporting of the spray bloodstain on the exterior of the tent resulted in this investigation being diverted in the wrong direction. Now, I'm satisfied that Dr. Brown, an acknowledged expert on bite marks of humans, used his best endeavors to learn what he could of what had been, until this case, an unknown field. In the light of his straightforward admission that he had no experience in examining bite marks in clothing, it'd be dangerous to rely on his evidence in that regard. I doth find that Azaria Chantel Lauren Chamberlain, a child then of 9
I think they're
weeks
both
of
bloody
age,
guilty. I don't care what anyone says.
Shut up and listen. You might learn something for a change.
met a death when attacked by a wild dingo whilst asleep in a family's tent at the top camping area, Ayers Rock. I further find that neither the parents of the child nor either of their remaining children were in any degree whatsoever responsible for this death. I find that the name Azaria does not mean and never has meant sacrifice in the wilderness. I find that after her death, the body of Azaria was taken from the possession of the dingo and disposed of by an unknown method, by a person or persons, name unknown. Court is adjourned.
And they think that because the clothes were folded up, and that was another guy that found it.
Why do you think people wouldn't accept a dingo took the baby?
Well, perhaps because this is the first in Australia documented.
Michael, what's accounted for your strength?
The Lord Jesus Christ is a very dear friend of ours, our Saviour, and the peace of God has kept us from being very foolish in our own lives. Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen, we have something here that you may like to see.
Oh, no.
This is a picture of Azaria as she really was. Prove to the world that she, as you see, is the most beautiful baby.
Look what these poor prawns are doing now. Anything to get their heads on the TV.
Oh, yes, he's the top in his field. Professor Cameron. Yes, London. And he's very keen to examine the jumpsuit in particular. But apparently I need permission from the minister to take it out of the country. Oh, no, I'm going anyway, so there's no cost involved.
I'd like to welcome, as the new semester begins, all the new students and their families who've come to live and study with us here at Avondale. I mention one family in particular, that of Pastor Michael and Lindy Chamberlain, for the fine example they set when the world harshly judged them and their church.
Lindy, Michael, you've both become household names over the past 6 months. How has that affected your lives?
Oh, well, we're managing, aren't
Well,
we?
things are starting to settle down now. The boys are in their new school here, and Michael started his new MA course. That'll take about a year, and then we're off to America
Well,
for his doctorate.
That would be a doctorate in theology.
Give us a break.
Yeah, doctorate in health science.
So we'll have to call you Dr. Chamberlain, Michael.
I don't know about that, but, well, I suppose so, but we're just a couple of ordinary Australians, really.
And what are your plans, Lindy?
Well, I've got a new house to get organised, haven't I? And I'm also starting my Bachelor of Education.
Rumours still persist about that tragic night at Ayers Rock.
We ignore them. The court put that straight.
Well, these are the product of sick minds, unfortunately, and we seem to have our fair share of those in places that you wouldn't really expect to find them, too, I'm afraid.
So it's full steam ahead for the future.
Well, we hope so.
You bet.
Okay, I'll ask the questions. I'll do the noddies in between. Is the tie straight? Lindy, Michael, you've both become household names over the last 6 months. How's this affected your lives?
Righto, let's run through it again. Team 2 is going here to Melbourne to the Whittakers. Team 3 to the Habeys. Team 4 flies to Western Australia, Esperance to the Wests. Team 5 to Hobart to the Lows. It's essential that everybody be in place and ready to make contact with our targets at 0800 sharp. That's our time. No slip-ups. I want these witnesses hit cold. I don't want one lot ringing another lot before we've had a chance to question them.
Michael?
Good day.
I've got to go shopping for a couple of hours. Can I drop Miss Brute on you? Yeah. Anything to get out of mowing. Hello, Mary. Be a good boy. Let's go good at the chooks, shall we? Get that fly off. What are you looking for, sweetheart?
Nothing.
Are you sure? Can I help you look for it? What is it? Hey.
Oh, I had a pink t-shirt exactly like that.
Taking on your advice too, Mummy.
What, Mary?
And it had Mickey on the back of Mickey on the back. I used to wear it to the club with my sister's
We
birth
need to see
certificate.
Murray, Auntie Helen. I've just
I
put
didn't
him
have
down for a
photos on them
minute.
then.
We need to see if he's okay. Oh. See, darling? There he is. Back safe and sound with his own mummy and daddy.
Lindy?
Minia?
Here's a few, love. Oh, well, it's the 17th, and I thought a gesture was in order to mark the anniversary of our unfortunate. Took hours to find them. She was so beautiful. And I wanted something beautiful for you in her memory. I get so angry and frustrated, you know, because I hardly even knew her. I hardly even took any notice of her, you know. Hardly knew her, Zari.
Did you hear the one about the Irish dingo? It ate the tent.
Okay, we got about 90 seconds to just make it right. Let's go.
Okay, Control. This is Units 1 and 2. We're on the move out.
I had that exact model. Commodore.
Mrs. Lowe? Is this the Whittakers?
G'day, Aiden. Your mum and dad home?
Yeah. Come in, I'll get them.
All right, thanks.
Need to take that kid out and answer the door. The answer's no, you can't come in without a search warrant.
We showed the bus, did we?
What can we do for you?
A warrant was issued in Sydney yesterday to search your premises for certain property.
Can I see that?
What is this connection with? Fresh information's come to hand. Forensic evidence.
What sort of evidence?
Yeah, well, all I can tell you is the Chief Minister's ordered a new investigation. Feel free to get dressed.
You realise today's our Sabbath? Excuse me, I expect the cupboards to be put back the way they were. How long will you have our things this time?
They're not going to do that.
Compensations available.
Yeah, what about the damage last time? Boys, don't ruin Mummy's oven.
We've received no compensation at all from last
Can you tell me why things that weren't even at Ayers Rock are going?
Look, I don't give a fuck about a freeway accident, right? I've been given a tip that the Chamberlain case has been reopened and I want that chopper. I don't know, there's some new evidence.
What new evidence?
Yeah, all right, hang on. Well, the coppers won't tell you everything, mate. They like to keep you on the hook.
Hey, Jim. Have a look at this. Chambers Morse took a nail at the tent, took a hammer in her hand, and went softly up to him and smoked the nail into his temple.
Is this the green tent?
Well, no, that's a brown and orange tent. Green tent's under here. Sarge.
You might be colourblind.
There's another one up there. You're this?
Is the car still available, Mr. Chamberlain?
No, it's being fixed at the moment down by the lake. I'll take you there myself later on. You'd never find it.
Jesus Christ. What's this?
Well, I use this for public health lectures to scare smokers, you know.
Why have you still got it?
Christ knows how they fitted all this in one car. Beats me.
Is this your camera bag?
Yeah, but it's not the one I had at the Rock.
I'll get it for you.
Oh, where's the yellow Tirana?
This was jammed with calls from the press and television. What's happening?
Well, it seems they've reopened the inquiries and...
How come the press knows those two? I don't talk
Supposed to be the Channel 7 chopper, isn't it?
New evidence has come to hand on the disappearance of Azaria Chamberlain. Police will review all evidence and investigations will begin anew.
Sir, does this mean that you're anticipating a second inquest?
No comment.
Well, there's a strong rumor.
I've got a mate in Darwin who knows the sister of the brother-in-law of the copper on this case. They reckon
The sister of the brother-in-law.
that's why they can't break it.
You wouldn't like to trot that past me again, would you?
And I understand they found a little white baby coffin in the house with an old Bible with a passage
For
mark.
goodness sake, give it a bloody rest, will you?
Let me tell you what the passage was about.
I've never asked you this before, but did you kill your baby?
If I answer that question, I'll be giving you an interview, and my lawyer has advised me not to speak to you alone.
No, I deny the conversation ever took place.
For sure.
Come on, it's just between you and me. Did you kill your baby?
Oh, come on. If I'd done it, why invent such an unbelievable story about a dingo?
Exactly what I thought at the time.
Don't sell yourself short.
You're crediting me with a perfect murder.
Don't sell yourself short. The baby's clothes have been examined by Professor Cameron in London.
Oh, I didn't know there were any dingo experts in London.
A world-class forensic scientist. He found a handprint on the jumpsuit. It's made when it was wet with blood. It's a small female hand.
Oh, well, then I'm back in the hot seat, aren't I? What else was in this report?
The baby was decapitated.
What?
I mean, I like how they find this out
Professor
with
Cameron,
no
the
body.
world's leading forensic pathologist, tendered ultraviolet photographs, revealing baby Azaria was held by a human hand while she was still bleeding. This evidence appears to be supported
Look what they did to
by
that.
the discovery of an arterial spray on the underdash of the Chamberlain's car, consistent with the spray from an artery of a cut throat.
The second
Oh,
inquest
from
into the disappearance
Overspray.
of baby Azaria Chamberlain reached a sensational conclusion today.
Lindy Chamberlain was committed for trial today, charged with the murder of her 10-week-old daughter, Azaria. Her husband, Michael, was charged as an accessory after
Remember
the
those
fact.
TVs?
How can they? How can they, the bastards? I'm sorry, that's the only word for them, bastards. Don't they know how much we love her?
I need a rocket launcher.
I don't know what God wants anymore. You know? How could he take her? I thought I knew the answer, but I don't. I don't.
Ah, the good old ABC.
Frightened Lord, and we died. We know we're on show, and we ask you for help. To let us find the strength to swallow the anger and the hurt, and to find the courage to face the future.
I mean, I know he's the pastor and everything, but to me personally, I think it'd be so hard to keep your faith when something like this happens to
I'll
you.
have another baby. I worked it out. And it's now or never. Because if I go to jail, I'll never have another chance. And if I don't, why should they run our lives? But it's time, darling. If we start now, I won't be showing at the trial. And when it's all over, no one need ever have known. The boys are praying for a little baby sister. So am I.
Prayer. What good is prayer? The only thing God's good for at the moment is stopping me from cutting my throat because that's what I feel like doing. Hell can't be worse than this. My life is finished. How can I be a pastor anymore? Who'd listen to someone who's supposed to help kill a child? I didn't know what to do.
Yes, Elizabeth, it was.
I
don't know how.
Is there any reason why there'd be a quantity of blood in your car?
Well, the kids have had cuts and bumps in the car, and nosebleeds, and Azaria vomited once or twice, if that means anything. You know, we're both trained first aiders. We've attended some bad road accidents, Michael. What was the name of that bloke we picked up in Cairns? Michael?
What difference does it make?
Well, he bled like a stuck pig.
I don't suppose there's any hope of finding him.
Look, I don't know his name. I don't know where he lives. And Cairns is a big town, and it was 18 months ago. And besides, it doesn't.
Cairns isn't that big a town.
Dashboard doesn't. We'll be back in a minute.
Cockatoos are white, red, and they can be all kinds of colours.
Why won't Daddy walk
Cockatoos.
with us?
Okay.
Because he's cracked.
He's what?
He's concerned for our safety, sweetheart. He wants to walk ahead in case there's someone there.
Life is crap.
Oh, Jesus.
No, you're right. It's exactly the same as last time. Have a look at what Webber found under the dash.
Exactly the same overspray.
Yeah, this is identical. I reckon there's a real possibility here. I'll photograph this.
You can cut it out if you want to.
It's incredible. There must be crack. Nobody's going to believe that line of bull. In 10 minutes, let me get this straight. In 10 minutes, I'm supposed to have taken the baby back to the tent, put her down, put on my tracksuit pants, right? Then carted her off to the car, cut her throat, cut her head off with the nail scissors, mind you, stuffed her body back in the camera bag. Have you seen the size of that, by the way? And
I couldn't find
I
any
hurry up
picture of
and
that.
clean up the blood out the car. and then picked up a can of baked beans because Aiden, who's been here, presumably, all the time, watching, I suppose, is still hungry. So I take him back to the tent and take off my tracksuit pants and sprinkle blood, my own baby's blood, round the tent and on Regan. And then, oh yes, but when do I make the little dingo tracks round the side of the tent? Right around that time, I suppose. And then we have a happy race back to the barbecue, as though nothing had happened.
No, it sounds preposterous, but that is the Crown's case.
That's what I found. Take a look at this, Stuart. It's exactly the same as a spray under our dashboard.
Good on you, mate.
That's the good news today.
What's the matter?
I've reset the trial for September.
September?
I'll be 7 months pregnant. I'll look like Humpty Dumpty.
They can't do that. The press will slaughter us.
And they did.
They should go back to Glennis, bless his soul, if I'm... Oh, wait a minute. I might be able to let this out just enough. See this?
It really was a terrible fashion
Michael?
era, wasn't it?
No, yeah, but she was kind of lowest of the low fashion too. You know what I mean?
Boys,
She looked a bit like an op shop.
morning then. Help me close up these suitcases. Come on, come up here. What are you on here? I'll squish it down.
Remember those bedspreads? I used to have a whole
Speculation here in Darwin is whether the most publicised pregnancy of the decade will end during...
Lindy and I are most grateful for your offering to put us up like this, Pastor.
Well, we thought you'd be better off here, away from the craziness.
At least the church did stand by
Keep an eye on
them.
you, as it were. So here we are, not the Hilton, but under the circumstances.
Bill. Gross.
We used to live in a garden shed.
The shower and toilets down the path under the house.
Oh, media are going to love that. Now they'll know every time I go to the loo, Michael. This is impossible.
I think we may be more comfortable back where we
Oh!
were. Wasn't much.
I took the liberty.
Yay!
They're gone by now. They're not a bad in town.
Thanks to us.
Come on.
Look at that. Turn milk sour.
That would be...
The Chamberlains arrived at Darwin.
When I went to Darwin a couple of years ago, my sister lived in a rental house up there, and the bathroom was sort of open, almost to the outside, and there was frogs and shit everywhere. Like, you'd be showering with 3 frogs.
In court this morning for the first day of their trial for the murder of their baby daughter Azaria. Lindy
I had hair like her.
Women across the nation are trying to work out when the baby's due and also the zodiac.
Well, my guess is Scorpio.
Your job in this case is to administer justice according to law.
When was Talia
Not
born?
according to rumor, not according to preconceived
2 months after
notions
she went to
of.
prison.
You will hear much of this, ladies and
When
gentlemen,
did she
for
go
the
to prison?
simple reason
What,
that possibly
83?
the publicity concerning
What
this matter has been
Question
without
mark?
precedent in
I
our
don't know.
lifetime. You see in this court a couple of cameras. I don't want you to feel that you're being directly telecast to Australia. That is not so.
Heaven
They
forbid.
were put in for the convenience of the press.
Okay, who wants to be in it? Tickets are $1 a piece. The one who gets the birthday gets the lot.
They
Was
did
there
not
anything in
stream
Mrs.
the
Chamberlain's
trial.
appearance or her demeanour on her return to the barbecue that indicated anything abnormal had happened?
No, she seemed solely concerned with feeding Aiden some more food.
Was she covered in blood?
No.
As to the baby's cry, did that cry appear to you to be cut off?
Going from experience with other babies, yes.
It was a relatively uneventful day, as eyewitnesses to that tragic night at Ayers Rock gave evidence.
You remember
The witnesses from right
in high school taking typewriting classes instead of computer classes?
No, we didn't do that. We had computer classes. Your school was backwards. Sorry, I was in
Yeah.
New South Wales. We were very forwards.
You know, I still had nuns.
No, it was the 82.
First 2 years of my high school was nuns.
Oh, lucky you. Lucky you. 29th of October, 1982, she was convicted.
little light on the events that led up to the disappearance of baby Azaria.
Everyone that was there, they were her friends, her
They were
witnesses.
her
They were all seventh-day Adventists. They didn't know each other.
Oh, come on, they were
It
all
was a
Seventh-day
ritual
Adventists.
killing.
Oh, yeah, they planned it all, did they?
And the buckle gave me very, very strong
Yes.
positive reactions for blood.
The
spray pattern. The spray pattern
I
under
remember
the
threading
gash
that ribbon
gave
so
me a
many
very
times.
positive reaction for the presence of fetal hemoglobin.
I did it at
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Gill,
tape
but you've got
after
22
high school.
positive
And I used to get my
reactions for the presence
fingernails
of
caught
fetal
in
blood,
between the keys.
hemoglobin from these tests.
That is correct.
Did the tests lead you to an opinion of the person whose blood you found and the age of that person?
They did. It was all consistent with the blood having come from a baby under 3 months. You bitch. What about when we took the jury to view the car?
Oh, I feel like a
She was
pup meal
behind
now.
me, staring. I could feel her, burning holes through my back. She just stares.
Yeah,
She's a
because you're
witch, you know.
stupid.
Oh, I can't stand the way she flutters her eyes at the jury. Makes me want to vomit. I reckon she's got something going with that copper, too. Active little monkey tonight. Come have a feel.
Not just now, my dear.
And what about the outfit? Polka dot? Practically the same as mine. Not to mention the hairdo. It's easy enough to dislike a woman without her adding insult to injury.
That is a demonstration photograph of an octoloni plate.
What the fuck does that mean?
The actual
It's what?
You can get a positive reaction to milk.
It's not the same type of reaction as blood, but you do get one. Can.
Vomit.
Due to the traces of blood in it, yes.
Saliva?
No,
Never.
not that I have seen.
Nasal secretions.
There is quite often blood in those secretions.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And if there was blood in saliva, the answer also would be yes.
Yes.
Rust.
Sometimes, sometimes not.
You can get it to rust. You can get a positive reaction to rust.
Sometimes, with some rusts, yes.
And isn't it also a fact that after 4 days screening, you cannot prove the presence of blood in the compartments or around the base of the Chamberlain camera bag? Can you?
No. My report states that.
Well, what about the real thing? What about the actual octoloni plates at the end of your tests? Do you produce those?
No.
Well, they're in Sydney, are they?
No.
Where are they?
They have been destroyed.
All of them?
Yes.
Whose decision was that?
It is standard procedure in our laboratory.
Professor Chaikin, you examined the tufts from the camera bag to see whether they could have come from the jumpsuit?
I did, yes. I would, if you don't mind, Your Honor, demonstrate it by actually cutting. I'm out my next trick. And you cut it. Some tufts fall off. And you can
Yeah,
shave
but
some off.
toughest fall off them things all the time.
Are you able to express an opinion as to whether or not a dingo's teeth could have made those cuts?
I would say no.
These are Lindy Chamberlain scissors.
Oh,
Are these
they,
the scissors you first...
they've actually got the second half of that that Dobbart hearing for Karen Reid for the dog bite expert on today.
No. Oh, really?
It's actually on now.
used in your cutting tests?
Yes.
And?
They came apart.
The scissors you eventually used for the test, do you concede they are larger than the Chamberlains?
Yes.
Therefore far more efficient for your purposes?
Yes. I concede that the Chamberlain scissors, as I received them, could not cut jumpsuit material.
Trying to make it look like
Little
a
on the
dingo.
neck.
I've never seen a dingo carrying a pair of scissors, have you?
No, not really.
Yet again, Lindy Chamberlain showed no sign of emotion as the evidence was presented.
Can we ring him?
She left court with her husband Michael and was whisked away.
We have to turn the air conditioning off. I'm cold.
You can't possibly be cold.
I'm freezing.
Then put a blanket on yourself.
I don't want to put a blanket on myself. Right, have the air
Leave it,
conditioning
I'm
on.
roasting. You seem to forget I've got a little furnace blazing away in here. If you want my company, then put a blanket on.
The last thing I want at the moment is to put a blanket
Go
over
in
me.
the other room then.
All right, I will. We should have got that set fixed so it was safe.
Oh, love, it wouldn't have made any difference.
We should have got it fixed, and we should have seen to it that it was zipped up.
Well, what about that other dingo they told us about? Clawed its way through the tent to get some food.
We should have zipped up the tent.
You mean I should have zipped it up? Isn't that what you mean? Say it, for God's sakes! Say it! Have the guts
But she
for
should have
once
zipped
to
up the
say it.
tent. I'll say it. She should have zipped up the tent. Not just the dingoes, so like scorpions and spiders and snakes.
Can you imagine a situation where the dingo was able to attack the child, pick it up, and carry it by the face?
No, dogs usually go for the back of the neck or around the shoulder.
Right, now in this case, having regard for the condition of the jumpsuit, can you see the child being grabbed by a dog by the back of a neck?
Not
Yeah,
from
just like they grab their
examination of the
puppies.
collar of the jumpsuit, no.
Would you have a look at this photograph, please, Mr. Sims? Now, do you concede, having seen the photograph, that a dog could perfectly easily encompass the head of a child of Azaria Chamberlain size in its jaws?
Well, if that doll's head has not been forced into the dog's jaws, I would accept that.
Mr. Harris, what is the purpose of a dingo gripping the head of the prey?
The purpose is to immobilize the prey immediately and preferably kill it at the same time. And there'd be very little blood because the heart would stop pumping. Look, I myself have documented a dingo running with a 20-pound baby kangaroo in its mouth over a distance of some 200 yards.
Now, we've heard evidence a dingo in the Chamberlain tent was seen to shake its head.
Well, it's quite consistent. The shake's obviously intended to break the neck.
You are now to be shown videotape of an experiment performed at a zoo in Adelaide. While you're looking at this tape, I want you to recall the evidence of Mr. Sims, where he concurred, because of this experiment, that a dingo could take out a baby goat from a suit while undoing only the two top buttons. It is therefore reasonable to assume that a dingo eating a baby human being out of its suit is quite within the bounds of probability.
How's that sort of doing?
Well, we figure we're up against about 4 not guilties and 4 don't knows.
The women are the big problem.
You remind them where they live.
Professor Cameron, now in your view, is there any evidence on or about those articles of clothing which suggests the child was killed by a dingo?
I saw no evidence on any of these garments to suggest that any member of the canine family was involved.
Now, in your opinion, is there any evidence suggesting the child was not killed by a member of the canine family?
There is evidence to suggest there was an incised wound around the neck. In other words, a cut throat. Now, this photograph was taken using ultraviolet light. You can see the pattern of bloodied fingers. And here, what may be a thumb? It's the impression of a hand of a small adult.
If that's a hand, I'm a virgin.
Would you align your index finger along the mark that so impressed Professor Cameron?
I object to that. The hand is flat. Noted.
How many smudges do you see?
Teresia's awake.
Would you hold your finger up, please?
She's still watching.
1, 2, 3.
The only one. They're all over it, Karen Reid, no doubt.
Yeah, probably.
We're going to take some of the wind out of it.
I might.
Did you want to jump over there?
No, when this is finished, I will.
What's that?
Oh, okay.
This bloke Confay was murdered in England, and 3 young boys were sent to prison for life based on Professor Cameron's expert evidence. 3 years later,
And that's why we love you so much, Teresia.
they'd be nowhere near the place, the actual time of death. Oh, the media are going to be pleased. I've got to go to the loo again.
Oh,
decoy time.
Oh.
Are you a professional lurker, Teresia?
She is.
Professor Cameron, when you gave evidence in the Confay case, you weren't armed with the correct knowledge of the attendant circumstances.
Did you read the
I
private
agree
chat,
entirely.
Tanya?
I want to suggest to you, Professor, you've done the same thing in this case. I should like to show the Professor photograph 10B. Would you call that a neat bundle?
No.
Cool.
Did you swear? I rely entirely on Dr. Scott's evidence that there was no saliva present on the jumpsuit.
Correct.
And yet Dr. Scott's testimony ends with, of course, there is no guarantee there is no saliva elsewhere.
There was no saliva present on the samples.
He said, of course, there is no guarantee there is no saliva elsewhere.
I would accept that.
In the Darwin court today, John Phillips QC told how evidence presented by Professor Cameron in a London murder trial was completely discredited.
Well, that's silly, sweetheart. Gran loves you.
She won't let me play outside.
She's just doing what Mummy told her. It's too dangerous for you to play outside now. Because we're in the paper so much and on the telly. Silly people get silly ideas in their heads. We wouldn't want one of them to come and get you now, would we? Yeah.
How long's this got to go?
Not much longer now, sweetheart.
Hang on.
But having a look at reactions given by the different anti-sera
Half an
against the blood
cool.
sample.
30 foot, yeah, half an hour.
I think that the court is familiar from the past that the anti-serum, known as anti-hemoglobin, has in it antibodies that react with both the alpha and the beta molecular chains, which are found in hemoglobins.
For example, a sample could have been obtained from the baby's clothing. Such a model would have made a perfect control to see if your serum was working. You would then want to know
How many more days of this?
am I going to work?
Trial basis, 5 days of extensive forensic evidence that even highly regarded experts can't agree on. I mean, how is it, a jury supposed to be making some conclusions?
That's right. We could
evidence.
dispense with the jury.
Orthotolidine tests, optoloni plates, and electrophoresis.
I'll give you $10 if you can get haptoglobin into a headline.
Well, perhaps the question we should be asking is why none of the Aboriginal trackers who were used in the search for baby Azaria have been called to give evidence at this trial.
Look, lady, you can't believe those bludgers. They're always drunk. You know
Do you remember the calling radio stations?
Oh my God, you said that these days?
Casey Kasem. Remember him? Oh.
Oh, Casey Kasem, yeah.
What is it? America's Top 40.
I don't know what I'm going to say.
I think this was one of the ones that made Alan Jones's career. Now that he's facing jail, isn't he? Yeah.
Calm, don't let them rattle you.
And the old, what was it, the
And
boom
listen
boxes, the,
carefully.
what were they called?
Is that the truth, really? That your wife told you she saw a dingo coming out of the tent?
Showing
She
your
thought it
age,
had Azaria.
Teresa. Showing your age.
She thought it had Azaria. And you didn't ever ask her why she thought it had Azaria?
The tent was empty. She'd seen.
I'm sorry. Could you speak up?
The tent was empty, Mr. Barker. She'd seen the dingo, and the baby was gone.
Did you not ask her? Did she see
Hey,
the
yeah,
I like
please.
MTV. Money for nothing and your chicks
I
for
don't
free.
recall asking her that. I could have asked her that.
You tell us you don't remember?
I don't remember asking that question. No.
Do you remember if she ever told you if she saw the dingo carrying the baby in its mouth?
She never told me she saw the dingo carrying the baby in its mouth.
Pardon?
She never told me she saw the dingo carrying the baby in its mouth. In her mouth. In its mouth.
She yelled out.
Did she ever tell
Dingo's
you she
got my
didn't
baby.
see the baby?
Yeah, exactly.
You'll have to repeat.
Did she
Good
ever
old
tell
rock and
you
roll.
she didn't see the baby in the dingo's mouth?
Perhaps Mr. Barker means not what you've heard her say. Did she ever say to
She
you?
did. She did. She did. I'm sorry.
That's all right. If you don't understand the question.
I'm not. I'm aware of. I think what you're trying to ask me.
I'll ask Mr. Barker to put the question again.
Yes, please.
Would you
Yeah,
put
Michael
it again,
Crack.
please, Mr. Barker?
Did she ever tell you that she did not see the baby in the dingo's mouth?
I don't think I can answer that question specifically.
Did she ever tell you she saw nothing in the dingo's mouth?
Oh no.
She told me the baby. She told me.
Do you have
the
gas,
dingo
Teresa?
appeared
So
to
at
have
least you
nothing
can
in
boil
its
water.
mouth, I think.
When did she tell you that?
I can't say. I don't know.
Listen, young lady, just you get your face straight before Michael comes in. He needs all the help he can get.
Well, how did I go? I want the truth.
You fucked up.
No,
Oh,
no.
sorry.
You
Can't say
had
that.
Barker working hard, sweetheart.
Jesus, mate, you're a bloody bad witness.
Not the same as the old electric kettle.
You'd been under the hammer for hours and hours and hours with somebody at your throat. But he couldn't answer be in a fit state. But he couldn't answer the question because he was a mess.
Look, if he makes Chamberlain look so emotionally incompetent, there's no way anyone's going to believe that he could keep up such a fantastic story.
Well, what's Barker supposed to do this?
As to the clothing your child Azaria was wearing, could we have the exhibits, please? The jumpsuit.
How are you feeling, Mr. Chamberlain? All right?
Yes, thank you, Your Honour.
All right. You let me know if you're not.
Perhaps I can approach this in a different
Sounds
way.
like you're going to have an interesting day, Teresa.
Without opening any of those articles, can you confirm they were the clothing
Oh,
your
the kettle
child was
now.
wearing?
Yes.
Right, put the clothing back.
Please state what other article Azaria was wearing.
A matinee jacket.
She had a white knitted marquee matinee jacket
I don't set clocks if it doesn't automatically
with a
sync with the internet anymore.
pale lemon edging.
What approximate age was this matinee jacket Azaria was wearing?
Well, it had been given to me by a friend who'd used it on 2 children before me.
Some of the jury are upset now. We'll take a short break. The court will rise for 10 minutes.
Poor things.
The jury were really upset. That's good. Good it was for Lindy, but it was the missing baby. It's not so good.
Could be bad.
I can't let that out anymore. Blowed if I know what I can wear tomorrow.
I've never seen you quite so large. Maybe if you just cut down on the eating. Just
You
a
mean
little
quite
bit.
so fat? You hate fat, right? I've never been quite this fat, have I? I'm twice my normal pregnancy weight. I wonder why. And you can't stand to look at me. You're so afraid I'll never get thin again the way you like it. Remember, you threatened once to leave me if I got fat. Well done. If Mr. Barker has his way, the decision may be right out of your hands.
How you bearing up, Lindy? How you bearing up, Michael? Mr. Tibble,
Did you tell Constable Morris about the matinee jacket?
Oh, I did mention it. He was on the move.
You heard him say here that you said nothing about a matinee jacket.
It's quite possible he was too far away to hear.
What's so important about this matinee jacket?
It explains the lack of saliva on the jumpsuit, Mary.
You're missing the point, right? If he can prove that she's lying about the matinee jacket, then she could be lying about everything else. And if she's lying, she's guilty.
No, and there's none on the jumpsuit.
No.
So she's saying that the matinee jacket was missing because they
had
had
the
the
saliva
saliva
on it.
That's
Yes.
right.
You told us yesterday, did you not, Mrs. Chamberlain, that when you saw the dingo shaking its head, it was halfway through the fly screen.
It was on the move through the fly screen.
Do you know there was no blood found on the fly screen, do you?
I presume there hasn't been, because it hasn't been mentioned.
Do you say this dog had its head half through the fly screen, shaking a bleeding baby?
As I said again and again yesterday, it was emerging through the fly screen.
Shaking its head vigorously?
I couldn't tell you now whether it was shaking its head as it was going through, while it was through, or before it was through. Its obvious movement was shaking the fly screen at some stage. It was all a matter of, from the time I first saw it to the time I was in the back of the tent, it was a matter of a few seconds, very, very fast and moving.
And what it had in its mouth, we now know, according to you, was a bleeding baby.
Well, that's my opinion.
Pardon?
That is my opinion.
Well, is there any doubt about it?
Not in my mind.
Is it merely your opinion, or is it something you know is a fact?
Something my heart tells me is a fact. Other people don't think so.
Did it surprise you there was no blood on the fly screen?
No, there was some on the pole. It doesn't really surprise me that there was none there. It would depend on which angle the animal was or which angle the wounds were.
Mrs. Chamberlain, you say this child was in the mouth of a dingo, which was vigorously shaking its head at the entrance to the tent. That is what you firmly believe, is that right?
That's right.
The dog having taken Azaria from the bassinet.
Take it steady, Mrs. Chamberlain.
You saw blood on the parka.
Yes.
Would you like a spell, Mrs. Chamberlain?
No, I'd prefer to go on with it, Your Honour.
I don't want to have you answer questions when you're feeling distressed. Would you like me to give you a 10-minute break?
No, I'd prefer to go on. This has been going on for 2 years and I'd like to get it over with.
You say the blood on the parka must have come from the baby.
Yes.
When it was in the dog's mouth?
Somewhere around that time.
But what other time could it have come from the
Look,
baby?
Mr. Barker, I wasn't there. I can only go on the evidence of my own eyes. We're talking about my baby daughter. Not some object.
I remember that bit.
I know it's difficult, but you must hold your temper. You sound too harsh, too angry.
I am angry.
Mrs. Chamberlain, it's not going over well with the jury. Try and be more demure.
I am the way I am, and the jury will have to get used to it.
Mrs. Chamberlain, when this
She
case is
thought
over,
Michael
I will
cracking
jump on a
up was
plane and get the
weakness,
hell out
though.
of this place. You could stay here for a fucking long time.
Thank you not to talk to my wife like
I
that.
can defend myself, Michael. I'm told don't talk like you normally talk. Watch how you hold your mouth. You look too sour and crabby. Don't get angry. Don't ask too many questions so they think you're trying to be smart. And never, never, never laugh or you're an uncaring bitch. Well, I can't cry to water. And I won't be squashed into some dumb act for the public. Or for you.
Mrs. Chamberlain, is it not the case that your husband declined to search on that Sunday night because he knew the baby was dead and he knew you had killed her?
Definitely not.
You invented the story of the dingo removing the baby from the tent.
I did not invent that story, Mr. Barker. It's the truth.
You can see how angry she was. She was like that, though. You
know,
could
the
see
learned
she was
prosecutor
angry.
put many allegations to Mrs. Chamberlain when she was in the stand, didn't he? But there was one allegation, the most important allegation in this trial, that was never put. And it was the allegation that would have started with the words, Mrs. Chamberlain, I put it to you, the reason you cut your child's throat was. The most important allegation, and it was never put. It was never put because Mr. Barker, one of the best men in the business, just cannot think of any reason why she would do it.
Now, no doubt the ordinary crocodile would have gone out of its way to eat this baby. But our experience as Australians tells us the dingo does not bear such a reputation. Now, what is this dingo supposed to have done? It managed, if her story is true,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that's happened to
kill
you,
the baby in the
Teresa.
bassinet, drag it
Yes,
to
I
the
don't think I'd ever like to.
shake her head vigorously at the
You
entrance
know,
to the tent.
you're supposed to die
and
before
carry
your
her off
kids.
into the night in such a way that left virtually no clues in the tent in the way of blood or hairs or anything else.
Yep.
It left no blood or drag marks at the entrance to the tent. It was able to pass by the child's mother in full view without disclosing or revealing it was carrying a baby. It managed to kill the child with all the buttons of the jumpsuit done up, and then, if you accept Professor Cameron, it buried the body having undone one top button. So, all in all, ladies and gentlemen, it was not only a dexterous dingo, it was a very tidy dingo. Now, there is some common ground between us, between Mr. Phillips and the prosecution, and that is that this is a case of simple alternatives. Either a dingo killed that child, or she was murdered. A dingo or murder.
Mr. Barker, in summing up, shifted the onus of proof from the prosecution to the defence when he shifted the emphasis from the almost incomprehensible forensic evidence, claiming it was a case of simple alternatives.
He also claimed that the matinee jacket was a complete fabrication on behalf of Lindy Chamberlain.
Mate, that Barker bloke's as cunning as a shithouse rat. Beauty, eh?
Shit house rat.
Remember that. Remember that comment?
Don't forget that if ever there was a time when dingoes were becoming a problem at Ayers Rock, it was in August 1980. I ask you, and you'll bear this in mind, if your wife had murdered your child in that car, what would you have done over the ensuing months? Would you still have the car? Would it have been thoroughly scrubbed? Would the scissors still be left in the car? Matters such as that. If Mrs. Lowe heard that cry, you may think the only inference you can draw is that it was Azaria's last cry, that Azaria was still living. She was not, and could not, have been lying dead in the car.
Oh, I don't like the way the jury went out. They wouldn't look at me.
The judge seemed to sum up in our favour.
I think the judge did everything but instruct for an acquittal. Oh, we're home and hose, mate.
He did.
Do you believe Dingo would take a baby? Yes or no?
No. What did Mr. Harris say about it?
Anyone for tea? Strong one or the other doesn't stand up. Look, can we sort out the flood thing before we go any further?
Oh, look, forget the blood. None of us understand anything about it.
The best thing for us is if she's found guilty.
People having a fight at the pub about it.
Yeah.
It's true, they did.
Michael, if I go in, I think we should get a divorce.
Absolute nonsense.
You couldn't.
I won't even think of it.
You couldn't handle things on your own, Michael.
Rubbish.
Foreman, you'll be good enough to stand. Foreman, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you unanimously agreed upon your verdict?
We are.
Do you find the accused Alice Lynn Chamberlain guilty or not guilty of murder?
Guilty.
Is that the verdict of you all?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. You may sit down. Alice Lynn Chamberlain, you have been found guilty of murder. There is only one sentence I can pass on you, that you be imprisoned with hard labor for life.
What's life in this town?
Forever.
What year is going to fall?
Do you believe I'm innocent?
Of course.
Do you believe I'm innocent?
Yes, Michael, yes, I do.
Then how can they do this to us?
They don't know you, Michael.
The prison car has arrived.
Mrs. Chamberlain.
You have to now, love. And the boys need you.
It just shattered him, didn't it?
Dingo is innocent.
In a sensational conclusion to what has to be the most talked about case in Australian legal history,
Who's he?
Alice Lynn Chamberlain was today
He
found guilty
is.
of the murder
Now I
of her
know
daughter
that.
Azaria and sentenced to life imprisonment with hard labour. Her husband Michael was found guilty of being an accessory to the murder. Sentencing for Mr. Chamberlain was postponed until court resumes tomorrow
There he
a.m.
is. Ian Gilmore.
Forensic evidence of expert witnesses from as far away as London.
He played John Buckland, that journalist that actually was for her all the time.
Ugh. And she's in jail in Darwin.
You need the machine gun.
Today sentenced Michael Chamberlain to 18 months in prison after he'd been found guilty of being an accessory to murder.
Suspended the sentence.
The judge suspended Michael Chamberlain's 18-month sentence in, he said, the interests of the motherless boys, placing Mr. Chamberlain on a 3-year bond to be of good behaviour. Chief Justice
fucking mother.
that as he had no
Back then they could smoke in
and was
prison.
of good character.
Yeah. Smoke anyway. That's why I love Thailand so much.
Northern Territory government
You can smoke in a restaurant at dim sum.
Lindy Chamberlain's appeal
You
to keep her baby with her after
any time of the day or night.
prison,
Smoke anywhere you like.
where she is serving a life sentence for the murder of her baby daughter Azaria.
That's it. One more. One more. Good. Good. That's it. That's it.
Good girl.
There. It's a girl.
Good girl.
It's a girl. It's a girl.
Can we get a picture?
Here we go, Mrs. Chamberlain. She's yours to hold for 1 hour, but that's all, I'm afraid.
You have to put your hand on her neck.
It's all
Hold
right.
it like this.
All right, mate, I know.
I thought
No,
she
see, that's not correct.
There you go.
That's not correct. They've taken a bit of license
Mr.
here.
Bell.
Yeah.
Well, come on, mate. I'm not very good at this.
Lindy and Michael Chamberlain lost their High Court appeal today on a vote of 3-2, ending over 2 years of legal and political battles.
I am deeply and bitterly disappointed at the decision that's been made at the High Court here today. I'd like to affirm that Lindy and I are innocent people and that we will not stop fighting until our names are clear and the names of our family. I'd like to thank those members of the public who'd...
Jesus, talk about flogging a dead horse.
And finally, this case isn't over.
There she is.
Mummy.
There's your mummy.
Oh yeah, there's Mummy.
Wait a minute. Let mummy have a look at you.
Wave. Talia, there's Mummy. Mama.
There's mummy.
I'd like to thank those members of the public who'd...
Jesus, talk about flogging a dead horse.
And finally, this case isn't over.
There she is.
Mummy.
Did that just repeat?
Yeah.
There's Mummy.
Wait a minute. Let mummy have a look at you.
Wave. Talia, there's Mummy.
No way you're allowed to stand that close outside of prison and see people. That's a bit of a license too.
There are such a
Yeah.
full of support for the
Visited
Chamberlains
my ex a few
despite
times.
constant legal affirmation of their guilt.
Well, legal processes have prevented the previous submission of much of the evidence we now present, which, for example, proves beyond any reasonable doubt that the reagent used to detect the presence of fetal blood, both in the car and on the camera bag, was in fact not suitable for the purpose. And that's supported in writing by the West German manufacturers of the reagent.
As for the spray pattern found under the dashboard, the so-called arterial spray, we've discovered the same pattern in 11 other similar model Tiranas. The substance isn't blood and is believed to be sound deadener sprayed on during manufacture.
As regards the dingoes, further examination has shown that...
What about the arterial spray? It's the same spray that they had in 11 other dogs.
I'm not having another dinner party ruined by those people.
I don't care what you do.
She's guilty.
You must have fallen from up there.
Stupid bastard, trying to climb that side.
Oh, geez, the dingoes have had a go, haven't they?
Yeah.
Meow.
Hey, look.
Pick it up with your bare hands, you dickhead.
Yeah.
2.5 years after the disappearance of Azaria Chamberlain, police have found what is believed to be the missing baby's matinee jacket at the base of Ayers Rock. The jacket was found during a search of the area where the body of a fallen climber was discovered.
Hey, she got a better haircut in prison.
The body was found some 150 metres from the spot where Azaria Chamberlain's jumpsuit was found in 1980.
And from Ayers Rock, police have found an article of clothing which may be connected with the Azaria Chamberlain case. There is a possibility that it is the matinee jacket Lindy Chamberlain claimed Azaria was wearing on the night of her death over 5 years ago.
The find is considered by the Chamberlain's attorney to be of the utmost significance. The absence of the matinee jacket was crucial in Lindy Chamberlain's conviction.
The situation with the matinee jacket is that tests are going to be carried out in Melbourne to determine if this is in fact the same matinee jacket which Mrs. Chamberlain claimed the daughter was wearing.
Why has Lindy Chamberlain been released before any forensic tests have been conducted?
The discovery of the matinee jacket has no bearing on my decision to release Mrs. Chamberlain.
What is your decision to release her? What is it based on then?
It has been on compassionate grounds.
Ian McFadden, yeah.
Here she comes. Here she comes. Oh, look at you. Oh my, look at the ribbon.
Are you really here for good, Mum?
Never know. It's Australia. We don't have a statute of limitations.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Lord, how beautiful. Look at the flowers. Where's Regan and Talia?
We're supposed to be here. Jana's looking after them.
Oh, take me a while to get this organised, won't it? I'll never find anything.
Not too soon. Like a culture shock.
Darling. Look, Alia. Hello, darling. She looked lovely. Such a pretty dress.
Mummy made it in jail.
This is Mummy, darling. She's back.
Real Mummy?
Real Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you
Who played her?
Kiss?
That's all right. That's right. We've got plenty of time for that.
Nicole Minster.
Now today we can rejoice
Nicolette
with the family
Minster.
as we welcome Lindy home.
Words are totally inadequate to say how we feel.
Look at those little rat's tails at the
to
back
express our
of your hair.
gratitude for your love,
Little
your
rat's tails
care,
at the
and your
back of the hair.
prayers.
Oh, yeah.
Reaches out to us like a blanket, surrounds us. It's totally tangible. The fight for justice
I had one of those watches.
has only just started. You may think it's over, but believe me,
I
it's
had the
only
shoulder
just
pads in
beginning.
the jackets.
And it's not only for us, for
Leg
our
warmer.
freedom and to clear our
Oh,
name, but it's for all Australians. We never want to see this happen in Australia again. God bless
I'll
you
tell
all.
people to say no comment.
Lindy, you're not going to take all this lying down. We're doing that.
Michael, now that Lindy's out of jail, why are you still fighting?
I don't think a lot of people realize how important innocence is to innocent people.
Yeah, this was made in 1988, so not long after.
Oh,
You got
is that
it?
it?
That's it.
Did that
It was
sound
made in
like that?
1988. It was made in
Yeah, they got
1988,
that.
but I know. Yeah. It was only made 2 years after the third inquiry hadn't even happened yet. Don't worry, the stuff I've got tomorrow night, is what we need.
Good morning, Doctor.
I just had a look at the start of this hearing. It's already been going for 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And this is the second day that she's been interrogated by this prick.
Oh. So this is the dog bite lady that they're still interrogating. Oh my God, I hope they're paying her well.
Oh, I doubt it.
I don't like that chick, Bev, mate. I think,
No.
you know,
Yeah,
somebody's
no.
got to let Lee Harvey Oswald out for the day and get him to fix a few up, I reckon. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, there's no. I can't stream for another 3 hours. I might
No,
try and do it.
no, definitely
I
not.
might set it up as a sleep stream and just let it run.
Just remember to turn the microphone off.
Oh, I'll have it running out here.
That's better safe than sorry.
Yep. Yep.
No, Meryl Streep did such a good job of that. I mean, okay, Lindy was a little bit skinnier and a little bit shorter, but Sam Neill was dead spit for Michael,
yeah.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
But Sam does
Yes.
make himself look like
Yes, Linda.
anything. Yes, it's 4 a.m., Teresa. As like my niece, she worked with Sam Neill on what's it, The Something Door. It's a movie only came out last year, I think, or the year before, with Sam Neill in it. Yeah, and she said he was absolutely wonderful to work with.
Oh, look, he would be. He comes across as a lovely guy, I reckon.
Yeah, he does. And he did have to sit there for 3 hours while she did his makeup and prosthetics that she did for him, yes. The cupboard door or something door, I'll look it up and I'll let you know. She's in the credits.
Yeah. All right, then. Well,
Okay.
that was interesting.
Well, and tomorrow you'll see some more information.
That's cool, isn't it?
Because that movie was made in 1988, and yes, it did take a little bit of dramatic license here and there.
Yes, it did.
But
tomorrow.
yeah, tomorrow we'll have some other secrets that, yes, you guys probably didn't see.
Yeah. Where are they now?
Yes.
I still got a tummy ache.
Oh no.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thanks for staying with us, and yes,
Cherry popped.
thank you for being there for me, Joe. It's really
Cherry
appreciated.
popped.
So yes, Teresa, we'll be here tomorrow night again, and yeah, some other facts and figures about Lindy Chamberlain. Yes.
And you too, sweetheart.
Love you too.